Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of DanCast. I am joined by my good friend David T. Allen. David, how are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. You know how it is, life. Always got lots of things going on. Doing some writing, doing some editing, looking for something part time to keep
Running
me busy.
conventions, successful
Running conventions.
conventions. I mean,
Yeah,
goodness sakes, man, you got a lot on your plate. But appreciate
yeah.
you joining me tonight for the second DanCast live stream.
My
So,
pleasure.
David, thank you. David and I were on together. It was either on your show or on our regular show, Toy Talk, and we started talking about movies. And anybody that knows me knows I love movies. And David and I just went on this whole sidebar talking about movies, and it started with like what's coming out this year. I always told David I had this philosophy when a year was coming up, I would look at the slate of movies and say, "Yeah, it's going to be a good year because we got this coming out, we got this, we got this, we got this." And in the last few years, it just seems movies have been it's been hit or miss. And I have friends that will argue with me and debate me about movie theaters are dead and this and that. And I'm like, I get it, but I think the biggest problem is content. What would you say, David?
I think, yeah, the last 2 or 3, I would say even 5 years, there hasn't been enough what has been coined as tentpole films for people to have. You know, that old saying from the 80s, it was like destination television. Well,
Oh
we
yeah,
need to get back to that in destination filmmaking, and we need these tentpole movies to go back to the theater. And I think this year, out of the last 5 or so years, I think this is the year because there is a slate of films that, like 10 or so of these movies, I want to see in the theater. It's like incredible. Starting today, in fact, today has Mortal Kombat 2
oh
that
that's
came
right. I
out
keep forgetting about that one.
with Johnny Cage as Carl Urban. At the end of the month is Star Wars. We've got a Spider-Man movie, a Supergirl movie, Masters of the Universe, Street Fighter. We got an Avengers movie at the end of the year, another Hunger Games movie, the
Don't
Harry
forget
Potter
Dune.
TV series. It's like, wow.
It's funny. So we just got off of had Free Comic Book Day last weekend, which we talked a little bit on Toy Talk, and it was the most successful Free Comic Book Day we've ever had. Which last year was the most successful, and we beat that by $1,000. So any of my customers watching tonight, or will eventually watch, or when our alien overlords apparently come down and wipe out everything, and you find these videos. Thank you to my great customers. Thank you to my great staff for a phenomenal Free Comic Book Day weekend. Now, the reason I bring that up is one of my customers that comes in, we give each other hell all the time. Like I'm JR and he's Cliff Barnes. And so we've always given each other grief. And he'll say it's the other way around, but you know that you're Cliff Barnes if you're watching Letus. So he comes up to me and says, "Hey, man, you know what I started watching and you should watch?" And I said, "What?" And he goes, "Knots Landing." And I said, "That's so fun," because you said Destination TV made me think of that. I was like, "That's so funny, man." I'm like 4 episodes in. Infatuated with Michelle Lee. I think that's her name. She's one of the neighbors. And then I said, I'm spreading rumors. I'm gonna be on a Knots Landing reboot or something. I'm gonna play like Alec Baldwin's kid. And he informed me that he didn't have any kids in the show. I said, well, he does now, me, because I'm in the reboot. So, and I told you I was almost in the Dallas reboot. I was going to be an extra in the bar scene in the first episode, and it was, of course, around Free Comic Book Day, and I was being the responsible business owner, and I was like, being on Dallas or this, and I was like, I got to do business, and it didn't really clarify if I got paid or if I had to pay for the flight. In hindsight, I wish I would have went now, but yeah, I agree with you. It's a stacked year for movies, and it's a nice, refreshing change uh, with that. And so David and I were talking about it.
And some
Excuse
kids
me,
movies too. You know, there's some really good kids movies too. Toy Story
Mario
5 is
Brothers.
out. The Bluey movie is coming out. There's some really good stuff for kids too.
So yeah, I mean, it's just I think they've like, yes, they're streaming. Yes, you can sit on your couch and watch new stuff. I guess I'm not sure how you. I guess you can pay for it or something. I don't get. I just watch the old stuff. Like to me, streaming is a way to watch In the Heat of the Night until I can't stand it anymore. and or the A Team or Magna PI or Knots Landing or Dallas or Falcon Crest or any the Master, which is on Tubi now. That was one of my Friday night jam when I was a kid because it was all about ninjas,
Oh
and I
yeah,
wanted to be a ninja. Still
me
do.
too.
Maybe
Me
I
too.
am, and you just don't know it.
Lee Van Cleef,
Yeah,
man, I'm like, God, was he cool?
dude. I mean, he was a ninja. He was in a Chuck Norris movie I love called The Octagon, and he was a straight G in that. He was in The Master, which in my mind was his character from The Octagon in some weird way. And of course, he was in the spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
And but anyway, David and I are talking about movies, and we just start saying like, "Man, do you remember this and remember that?" And we just start getting on this tangent about like 1982 and all the stuff, or 84, or 85, or 86. And I said, "Hey, you know what? Let's do a DanCast about movies." So if we, David and I have been accused of being talkers, and I guess, we are a little verbose. If we tried to cover all the stuff we wanted to cover tonight, we would be here for 3 months. So we're going to try to get this in like, a small time frame. But we're going to talk about a few movies from 1977. I wanted to start there. Actually, I'd love to start prior to that, but we can always go back. But I wanted to start with 77 and then go to about maybe 81 if we can. So I made a list of movies. And I was just going to name the movies, and then we'll go back and like have you have memories of seeing this. David was amazed at some of these from '77. My mom and dad took me to the theater to see. So David, if you're ready, we can get into it if you want. Or
sure,
um,
definitely.
okay,
Um,
so
can I
19.
just say
Yeah,
Passamaquoddy?
what's that?
Can I just say Passamaquoddy?
Absolutely.
Do you know what that's from?
Oh shoot, remind me.
Pete's Dragon.
Oh, okay, which is on the list. I feel like Chris Jericho when he had his list. David T. Allen, you just made the list. Um,
It's a musical. Pete's Dragon is a musical, and there's a guy, he sings that song like three
God, that's the
times in the
saddest
movie.
song ever, too.
Yeah,
I hear
but
that
it's
song even when I was a kid. And I hear that song. It's just like a lonely day in your room with your stuffed animals. Maybe
yeah.
it's raining outside, and it's like goodness sakes, you're sitting there crying. And
I loved it.
first,
It was a Disney movie, but it was part reality and part animation. It was kind of like Mary Poppins. It's like a new
yeah,
film with those elements, and there was a lot of music in it, which I know a lot of the music is a little bit politically incorrect today. Some of that music, and it was very like annoying to people when they saw it. But I loved it. I was a kid. I loved it.
so apparently, Puff the Magic Dragon also means other things too.
Yeah.
So, um,
Yes.
shout
Thank
out to our West Coast hip hop
you. Yeah.
for that one.
So yeah. So I thought I'd bring that one up. Go ahead.
Well, that's actually on the list. So 1977, and this is in no particular order, not my favorites. I just went through and just kind of off my memory and then just off of just going through like the records of what came out. So some of the big movies that year: Smokey and the Bandit, Damnation Alley, The Deep, Close Encounters of the Kind, Airport 77, MacArthur, The Spy Who Loved Me, Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is, if you've never seen that documentary, watch it. It's the greatest documentary ever. Have you ever seen it?
I have. I saw it many, many, many years ago when I was a child, and it just wasn't my thing. I thought it was kind of boring.
I was a big Arnold fan, and I like the weights and all that. So I was like, I love watching it. There is some lines I'm not going to repeat in case my son watches this. But one of the funniest things in the movie, he's eating breakfast with Lou Ferrigno and his dad, Lou's dad and
Right.
mom, and it's all like kayfabe. They had kind of staged all this anyway.
Oh
So
yeah.
Arnold's sitting there, and he's like six-time Mr. Olympian, and he came out of retirement to do this one again, and he's like, "Oh, my mother calls me today and she says, Arnold, congratulations. Congratulations, you won Mr. Olympia." And he's like, "Mother, we haven't even had it yet." And so, like, Lou's eating the cereal and he's just like, heads down in the bowl of cereal, depressed. And Arnold's like, My mother, I win every year, so she thought I win already. I win all the time, and like he's just in Lou's dad's like, yeah, that's right, Arnold, that's right, you did win all the time, and it's just funny because they're just messing with each other. And
Yeah.
then there's the part where like Lou's lifting weights and he's grunting real loud, and Arnold's like, "Is that too heavy for you, Lou? Do you need some help?" It just the back and forth is hilarious. Plus, you kind of learn a lot about the Mr. Olympian contests and weightlifting competitions and stuff.
You do a good
So,
Arnold impersonation there.
oh, thank you. I've been working on that since I was a kid. One day I'll get it right. The Hobbit, not the Peter Jackson movie, but the animated
It's
movie.
the Ralph McQuarrie Hobbit. That
Well,
was
it's the group that ended up doing Thundercats, I think, or
uh,
no, or was
Filmation.
that was the
Yeah,
Return of the King
it was
stuff.
Rankin and
Yes,
Bass.
Capricorn One with O.J. Simpson.
Oh boy.
Are you familiar with that movie?
The least we can say about O.J. Simpson, the better.
Well, man, O.J. was a pretty funny guy on Twitter, and I'm confident that he was trying to catch those killers on the golf course. He was just about 3 holes behind them, but if he was so close, man, so close. But it's a movie. It's kind of interesting. We bring this movie up today because all this supposed alien disclosure, where they're just showing dots flying around, and they're like, "Oh, when we landed on the moon, there was some debris. We think it was aliens." Like, we'll go to Kentucky and look out the window. There's debris flying all over the place. Um, and so they fake them. They fake a moon landing in this movie, and then they try to kill the astronauts because they're going to uncover it. And it's pretty wild movie. Then there's Wizards, the animated sci-fi movie Wizards. Do you remember that?
I do. It had a very stylized animation that a lot of the weird animation like that was no, I wouldn't say anime. I would just say very artistic, like a weird style type. They were going for some oddball, unique stuff, and it never struck me.
Yeah, I watched some of it years later. I kind of remember like commercials for it later on and stuff like that. Um, it was definitely a different movie. Wasn't it connected? I might be speaking out of turn here. Wasn't it connected to the people that did heavy metal
Yes.
in some way or form?
Yeah, I was in the
Uh,
same studio that did all that weird animation.
so then we also have Orca.
Now that's a movie. I loved Orca when I was young, but going back and watching it as an adult, I saw it several times. It is a psychological, like gory, like weird mental type thing. Totally different than what I remember about it when I was young. I thought it was like a different Jaws type of movie, but it wasn't. It's totally different than Jaws. But I still love the movie. It's just my memory of it was totally different. That's why as an adult, I'll go back and I'll watch stuff that I watched as a kid to see if I see it the same way, like I did with V. I went back and watched V, and I have a totally different outlook on V than I did when I watched it as a child. And Orca is the exact same way. Even though I still appreciate Orca, I don't particularly appreciate V as much. But Orca, wow, what an
Well, I
incredible
love Sir
movie!
Richard Harris,
Oh
and of
yeah,
course he's in it. I love his crazy hair, and
yeah,
he's one of those British guys when he cusses. It's kind of cool, kind of like
yeah.
Michael Caine.
But it's
My
weird.
parents
It's
took me to
like
see that, and people wonder why. Like, how come you don't go swimming or camping? And I'm like, because my parents took me to see Grizzly and Orca. Okay, Grizzly was a bear running around killing people in the woods, and Orca, is a killer whale. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near those things.
Well, I think I
Uh,
have the wherewithal to realize neither of those were true characteristics of those two creatures because I camped and I was a master swimmer. I was in a swimming class and we got invited to the Olympics and stuff as a swimming class.
oh,
So
that's awesome.
I loved swimming and I loved going out in the woods and having adventures and things like that. So neither of them bothered me, but they are very unique films from the aspect of the whole Jaws craze, an animal type thing that's going to come and try and kill you. That's where you got the swarm with the bees, the
Love that
birds
one too.
earlier than that. All these type of things, monsters that would come and get you and stuff. It was weird.
So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So Jaws, they consider Jaws to be the first blockbuster, summer blockbuster,
Yeah.
and it kind of kicked off everything. And
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. There was a lot of Hollywood's interesting. I remember the year we had Tombstone, which I love, and then they did Wyatt Earp, all in the same year. We had Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones,
Yeah.
and we had Dante's Inferno with
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan and
Right.
Linda Hamilton.
Yeah,
And
they
it's just like they
repeated.
always copy each other.
Yeah.
They do duplicates. It's
Yeah.
so funny. So we also have Looking for Mr. Goodbar. We have Saturday Night Fever.
Wow, that was a
Uh,
starring feature for John Travolta.
yes, big time. We have The Gauntlet with Clint Eastwood and his future wife, which I think they eventually got divorced, maybe remarried again and then divorced again. Then we have Grease Lightning. And then we have some fun stuff like for kids, like Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown, and Pete's Dragon. Then we also have A Bridge Too Far, which is a classic war film.
Yeah.
We have Billy Jack.
Do you
remember Billy?
Bridge? Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I don't recall Billy Jack. I know the name, but I don't recall what the plot was. But A Bridge Too Far, I believe, had Harrison Ford in it, didn't it not?
No, it has Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness.
Yeah, it's a whole. Or wait a minute, the bridge. No, I'm sorry.
No, he was in a bridge.
Over the River Kwai. My bad.
So I think Harrison.
Too many bridges, man. Too many bridges.
Yeah.
Then we had Oh God Part 1.
Oh yeah.
The Rescuers. Do you remember The Rescuers?
Yeah, I love The Rescuers.
I loved that freaking movie when I was a kid. And then Breaker Breaker, which I believe was Chuck Norris's first solo film. He was in Way of the Dragon with Bruce Lee, and then his first solo film was or it was Good Guys Wear Black or Breaker Breaker. I can't remember. There's one of those films, and it's a cool movie.
The thing about it is, I watched a lot of the kids' movies because I was a kid. I was only like very young at that time, and so those are the movies that I have a bigger fondness for and memory of. I did see a lot of those other movies years later, going backwards, but probably not.
Oh yeah, same here. And then there's one other little movie we left off. I left off the list on purpose. I don't know if a lot of people have heard of it.
Is it from a galaxy far, far away?
Yeah, it's something called Star Wars. Kind of just changed the world and everything. Yeah. So, out of those movies, which ones did you see as a kid?
Well, I know I saw Pete's Dragon. I know I saw the Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo, The Rescuers. I saw probably Charlie Brown, Race for Your Life. I probably saw some of the adventure movies with like Burt Reynolds, that type of stuff. The Richard Pryor movie that you said. What was the
where'd you go, Richard?
He was in a
Grease
comedy.
Lightning. Is it Grease Lightning?
So stuff like that I saw that was funny, action-oriented, animation, kids fair like the Lord of the Rings, Macquarie, Rankin and Bass, that type of stuff. I saw all that. I know for a fact. Some of the more serious movies I had to watch later and go backwards. Like I'm 100% sure I did not see Star Wars in its original release. I saw it years later, but I do recall seeing Empire in the theater, but not Star Wars. So I think I was too young to see Star Wars.
So for me, I saw Star Wars in the theater, and I remember seeing it. I remember the line. I remember seeing it, and I remember duplicating the noises and doing my hands like a TIE fighter. And my dad kept saying, "Put your hands down, son." I was going, and he's like, "Put your hands down." And I just remember. And then we saw it, I think, like 10 times, not the same day, but over time. Because like we were talking about earlier, movies used to be out of the theater forever.
Well, we have to clarify something about that because in my area, I lived in Massachusetts at the time, at this period of my life. And then we moved to, I think, New Hampshire in the mid 80s. So I lived
is this when you auditioned for New Kids on the Block, or was this this prior to that or after?
I was the one that was the quiet one in the corner. Um,
And then they replaced you with Donnie Wahlberg. Same thing happened to me with New Edition.
Exactly.
Uh,
But no, I lived in Massachusetts for about 9 years, my first 9 years of my life. And then when I was about 10, we moved to New Hampshire, Salem, New Hampshire. So I remember that we did not go to the theater, we went to the drive in. So we would see a lot of these movies in double features at the drive-in, and that's where I remember a lot of the gun-toting action type movies. They had what was called the grindhouse movies.
oh
As I
yeah.
was getting older, we would see those grindhouse double features, and you would see a lot of the Roger Corman double features and stuff like that. And then you would have a premium movie, and then something afterwards that would be similar to it. So you'd see two Disney movies or two Burt Reynolds movies or what have you. That's a lot of how I saw movies in my early years before we got to the actual theaters in like New Hampshire. They had theaters we would go to in buildings.
So we there's a church we would go to that look, I'm the fourth generation of my family to be baptized and all that there. And they have a tradition like their mass, they get you out in 45 minutes
Wow.
because those priests are going to be watching football, baseball, and they ain't got time to sit around and talk. Like we're getting mass in and out, and you're out. So we would go to mass, and then we'd go to the movies, and or we would like alternate. We'd do like church one week, movies the next week, and mostly on Sundays. It was kind of like my mom, dad, and myself. And so we saw Star Wars in the theater. I saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind in the theater. The Spy Who Loved Me, my
Oh yeah.
biological father, Roger Moore. I saw
James
him in the
Bond, yeah.
theater.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was a great one.
the Orca I saw in the theater. I have no idea why my parents took me to see that. Saturday Night Fever, I saw that.
Oh
I
yeah,
just
John
remember
Travolta. Yeah.
we had the album, and I remember putting on my mom's high heels, dancing to the music because I thought I was wearing those big platform shoes that John Travolta had on,
Oh yeah,
and I
bell
was
bottoms.
duplicating his moves and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to ever do that on live stream or any video ever. There's no video of that exists. And then I remember seeing the Rescuers. I remember seeing Pete's Dragon. Um, and I think that was about it. I don't think the rest of them. I think I either saw like later on in life or Herbie. I think I saw one of the Herbie movies because I think it had like Don Knotts and Tim Conway, which those guys were so great, man.
Oh yeah.
Those
Yeah.
guys were so funny. It was clean humor. It was just fun.
Yeah.
So what the neat thing about that year is, so 76 was the start of the summer blockbuster. So the neat thing about 77 was, of course, you had Star Wars. And in Star Wars, God bless Marsha Lucas, because she saved that, her and Gary Kurtz saved that movie because it was an absolute disaster. Gary Kurtz was the producer. He's as much as responsible for Star Wars as George Lucas, if not more so. And then Marsha Lucas, George's former wife, one of the phenomenal editors, producers in Hollywood, and a phenomenal lady. She edited the movie and fixed it. And because all the actors were like, this is not going to go far. And I mean, George had a great vision. And but a lot of people that are very artistic like that and have that vision, it's hard to like, you're all over the place. It's hard to narrow it down.
What is that saying? Like the perfect storm? Like there was so much wrong with that movie. They were originally that was supposed to come out in December. They ended up having to push it 6 months.
Yeah, December of 76.
Yeah. So they moved it 6 months and it was a disaster. They didn't have any of the special effects ready. There was hardly any of the voiceover stuff wasn't ready. There was so much stuff that was wrong that when George came back from the principal photography, he almost killed himself. He had
he had a heart attack, or is either a heart attack or almost a heart attack, and was in the hospital for a bit.
He had. Yeah.
Man, well, that was his baby, and he was trying to prove a point, and God bless him, he did.
Oh yeah, he's very lucky, very lucky.
100% changed movies forever. It changed special effects. It changed the summer movies. It just made event movies. Yeah. And people can say whether that's good or bad. And I think for the most part it's good. But when like you go see a movie like Star Wars, and I'll do a whole podcast on Star Wars at some point. But like you do something like Star Wars, like forever I wanted to be an astronaut. I was infatuated with space.
Yeah.
everybody was laser guns, fantasy,
Oh
and I
yeah.
didn't really look at it like it was science fiction. I looked at
Yeah.
it as like fantasy. It was
Yeah.
like a fantasy adventure. It was like King Arthur or something, but in space.
Yeah.
And man, it changed the world in a good way.
Well, the way that
And
he looked about it, the way that he looked at it was he used a lot of mythology books, and used some of his own life with the race cars and with
well,
whatever
it
the
was
town.
based off of what was it, Hidden Fortress
Yeah,
and Seven Samurai, and
yeah,
you can see the influences there. But I
yeah,
mean,
and his
everything's kind
car
of based off of everything, you know.
and his real life with the cars in where he was from, that town that he was from, and stuff like that. And there was a lot of stuff that he took stuff. Flash Gordon, he was a big fan of. He took stuff
Oh yeah.
from, and he had
And
a
how
book.
funny is it? Harrison Ford was a carpenter.
Yeah.
Because if you've ever seen the test reels of
Oh
Christopher
yeah.
Walken or Kurt Russell
Yeah.
auditioning as Han Solo, I think Kurt Russell would have been a phenomenal Han Solo.
He
But
would have.
it all works out the way it's meant to.
Yeah, it
And
does.
Harrison Ford just on a whim, all right, I'll sit in and do these. And they're like, man, Harrison's kind of our guy here, you know? I know he's smoking pot and drinking and passed out in an El Camino but after the sets are built, but like, I think he's our guy. And he was. And what a phenomenal career he's had. I mean, he was in American Graffiti and a few little things here and there. But man, that really like put him into the stratosphere.
Well, but that's what
And
I'm saying. There's so many things. If one thing doesn't go right, like if the special effects don't work, if Harrison Ford doesn't sit in and do these tests with these different people, and then end up getting his role as Han Solo, if James Earl Jones doesn't do the voice of Darth Vader, if John Williams says no and doesn't do the music, if Fox says no to whatever the different things that they did, that they
distribution, they
totally screwed
distributed
up.
it.
Distribution, there's so
You're
many
right.
things
It's
that
really
went
the perfect
wrong.
storm.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
lightning in a bottle. And
Yeah,
and then you think like what we talk about with toys, the toy industry, where hell they didn't even have toys for it in that year. I mean, you had
no,
like knockoff stuff and
they had to do
the
a box. They had to like give them the Star Wars like thing for Christmas, a box saying that yeah, you're gonna get these figures in like 3 or 4 months. They'll be here in like May. And what was the name of that box that they gave them?
the early bird
Early bird
special.
special in at Christmas. I was like, what the hell is that? But
So so man, like we lived in a trailer for a brief time while our house was being built that I grew up in. When the Falcon Crest estate was being built, we lived in a trailer, and there was one night I was sick as a dog, and like I didn't want to lay on the couch. I was laying on the floor with a blanket and a pillow and a stuffy with me, and we had a black and white TV at the time, and I don't remember like the Jeffersons or something's on, or I don't know what it was. I was watching something, and my whole body hurt. I thought I was dying. My dad was working full time and then going to school at night. That's where I get my work ethic from. And he comes home and he's got all the original Star Wars guys. And I don't remember being sick after that. I
yeah,
just remember sitting up and like I just remember the droids. It just looked like they glistened. It was just incredible memories. So 77 kind of sets a new standard. So we roll into 78, and here's what we have for 78.
wow.
And these are no particular order, and there's tons and tons of movies that we can't do it all in one night. But here's some big benchmark movies. Superman the movie comes out. Halloween comes out. The Wild Geese, which Sir Roger Moore's in with Richard Harris and Richard Burton. Which, on a side note, the director was terrified to have Richard Burton and Richard Harris in a movie together because he figured they'd be doing this all night and all day drinking, which they
Yeah,
did, but they limited it so they could act. Um, Up in Smoke with Cheech and Chong, The Big Sleep, Felicity, which that's kind of a little known movie, but if you were growing up in the 80s and you had Showtime and you could watch in between the lines, that movie taught you a lot of stuff. We'll just leave it at that. Stir Crazy with Richard Pryor, Foul Play, Every Which Way But Loose, the Lord of the Rings movie, the animated, kind of half animated, half live action, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which I recently I watched that. I think it was last year all the way through, and that is a freaky ass movie. I'm sorry, it is a freaky ass movie. Um, then we have The Omen 2, uh, Hooper, and then we have Battlestar Galactica, which they put out in the theater. I remember seeing that. Then we have a movie called Corvette Summer with some guy named Mark Hamill. Um, then we have Cat from Outer Space,
I love
The
that
Big
movie.
Sleep. We have Deer Hunter with a very young Christopher Walken. Convoy.
And what about
Uh,
Robert De Niro? Was in
Robert De
Deer
Niro's in there
Hunter.
too. And then we have Dawn of the Dead. We have Grease. We have The Wiz, which was kind of a sequel to Wizard of Oz with Michael Jackson. Sergeant Pepper and the Lonely Hearts Club. And then we have Jaws 2.
Ugh.
So we were starting sequels that year. So David, what do you think about those movies?
I saw some of them. I was not a big fan of the modern horror movies, so I did not see Halloween. I did not see some of that type of stuff. And I was not fond. Jaws 2 was okay, but I have a weird thing with Jaws where I'm. When it comes to horror movies, I always like the third ones. And people are like, David, why do you like the third ones of all these horror movies? It's just they were at the right point of my life where I could accept it and it didn't scare me, So I like Jaws 3. I like Halloween 3. I like
Jaws 3 gets a lot of crap, and I like that movie too. I'm sorry, I
I do
like that
too.
movie.
Friday the 13th 3. I like
Oh, I
Nightmare on Elm
apologize. Hold
Street
on,
3.
I missed one. Star Crash.
Oh,
Speaking of Roger Corman,
what
and the
about
first and
that's a rip?
the first of the Star Wars knockoffs.
Yeah, that it's a funny movie, but it's terrible. It's God, is it terrible?
So I think
It
the
does
only one of these movies that I saw live in the theater was probably Superman,
definitely.
maybe Every Which Way But Loose,
Yep,
uh, Battlestar Galactica.
yep, definitely,
Probably saw The Cat from Outer Space.
definitely that. That was a fun movie. I love that movie.
Grease. Saw Grease with my
Grease, yeah.
parents.
The Wiz probably saw it.
Thank God they didn't take me to see Deer Hunter when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, I didn't
Holy
see Deer Hunter.
smokes,
I
that's
had to
a
see
that's
that
a
many years later.
that's a wild movie. Yeah,
Yeah, so
we're getting into like sequels now with Jaws 2. We're getting into the inspired movies of Star Wars with Star Crash, and then we get into John Carpenter's Halloween, which just kicked
yes,
off an entire thing. Now
yes.
I'm not really a big horror guy. I do like some horror. Like I like the Omen movies. I like the
I do
Halloween
too.
movies.
I like
And there's
church horror. I like
certain things I like.
like occult, church type horror movies like The Omen and that type of stuff. I get into that because I like the mythology of the church and all that, and the archaeological type of stuff that they get into in a lot of those movies. So I came from that aspect of that. So I did see The Omen and I thought it was interesting.
I tell you, I love those movies. And Omen 2 is when he's like out there with that kid and he's like, and the kid's head blows up. It's like, holy smokes. Um, the Halloween, though, I love Halloween. I love that movie. I love that series. I even like Halloween 3. I love Halloween 3. I get a lot of crap for that.
I do
And I
too.
think Tom Atkins is a straight G, a straight up pimp in that movie.
Yeah,
We're getting a couple of years ahead of us there. But
yeah.
Halloween was such a phenomenal movie, and he did it on. I love and appreciate John Carpenter, especially early John Carpenter, because he had a way of, okay, so you're the lighting guy, and now we need like thunder. So David, run out here and bang on some aluminum pans and stuff.
Well,
Like
that
he
was
was.
the budget was so small in that
Oh
first
my
one.
gosh, yeah. And I mean, you had
Jamie
Jamie
Lee
Lee Curtis
Curtis.
was helping with stuff,
Yeah,
and it's just like that's the way movies should be made, man. They like when you see these budgets, like oh, we have a $250 million budget
yeah.
and $100 million for marketing. It's like that's too much, man. You're missing the point of it. And like John Carpenter was so clever and such a great filmmaker, and he's from Kentucky,
Ah,
where I'm from, and he grew up right outside of Bowling Green, and it's always funny when we drive to Georgia or Florida, we pass like all these different stuff like Smith Grove. It's an exit. That was the name of the sanitarium. So like in a lot of his movies at that time, he would take elements from Kentucky like where he grew up, street names, and it would be a town, or it
That's
was
that's a
just
fascinating thing about with these directors and these people that create these movies. Like we were talking about Star Wars a little while ago, where George Lucas took a lot of his stuff from his childhood, where he did racing and hanging out in the streets and stuff with cars going up and down the boulevard, all that. That was part of his first movie or his second movie, depending upon how you look at it, and stuff like that. And this guy, he did all this stuff in Kentucky, and then Smith does a lot of stuff in New Jersey because that's where he's from. And I think that's really cool about these directors, these creators, that they look at their community and they incorporate it into these films and they get people interested. And now people are probably trying to find all these sites for Halloween that are
man. I
Halloween
tell you,
buff.
it's very inspiring as a writer and just as a fan of this stuff. That you know, I think the problem with modern cinema today, and a lot of these movies, they're
They
just
over,
classic movies, man. And like
yeah.
they put a lot of, there wasn't like a, like the first Suicide Squad movie, a customer of mine. It's a radio personality. I think he's in the Carolinas now, and my list just flew out of my hand. So hopefully we don't have to refer back to it. Um, he was saying, like, it's like a boardroom of people, and there's some marketing guy like, it's guns, it's Guardians of the Galaxy but with guns, and then we'll throw
Yeah.
in Will Smith because kids like Will Smith, and at the time kids hadn't liked Will Smith since '99. But
Yeah.
it's just, it's just like too many chefs and cooks in the kitchen. You need
They
one
overthink
chef.
it.
Oh yeah, and it's like sometimes less is more.
Exactly.
One of the things I learned with my book, and we're helping Terry with his, is just, you don't need all this dialogue. Let the artist. You should be able to look at a comic with no words and see what's happening. Then you go in and add the words, and you're adding the seasoning to the
I mean,
story. You
I'm
know,
dealing with that particular problem right now, so I'm very interested in this particular subject because we just went through GI Joe Silent Missions Month 2 with all the Cobras, and I'm looking through these. I'm like, God, I can tell this story. It's fantastic. The artist is doing such a great job with all these things. You just want to look at the pictures, see all the detail, see all the cool stuff that's in the background, see everything that the character's doing, all different styles, right? And I'm trying to look at this script that I'm editing right now, and the writer, he put too much dialogue in several pages. I'm having to go back to the writer. I'm like, you've got to pare this dialogue. We can't get it all in here. The artist it's going to block all the art and everything. It's way too cumbersome for these pages because we don't have room to expand. Sometimes we'll add another page of art to accommodate, but particular instance we couldn't. And so I had to like go to my writer and I'm like, you've got to look at this and cut this down. And then I went back over after he cut it down. I'm like, okay, I think we can get this to work. But it was like he's a great writer, but he's just too much dialogue.
when I first worked on the Dominus, not the current version of it, but the kind of like first draft or proto version of it, the one that won me a contest with the publisher. Um, there was an editor I was working with, and he was looking at the dialogue. He's like, man, there's no room for the art. You got to like chill out, and like it. I took that to heart, and I was like, oh man, instead of getting mad, like people get mad at stuff like that. It's like, you don't get mad at it. You take its constructive criticism. Now, there's ways to say it, not to
Yeah,
upset somebody.
of course.
Like, oh, your writing sucks, and but you just, and I was like, man, the guy's right. Where the hell with the art? I mean, I'm going to cover up all this great art. So you just sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
But that's what I appreciate about some of these
Well,
movie
78
creators.
is a really good year because there's a lot of star making properties that came out that year. Superman with Christopher
Oh
Reeve,
man, and put him on the
the
map.
Deer
Jamie
Hunter
Lee
with Robert
Curtis.
Downey Jr. Not Robert Downey Jr. Robert De Niro. What am I saying? Um, John Travolta with Grease.
That was a
There's
nice follow up to Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, there's some big, big star-making properties that came out in not only 77 but 78 as well. And so we've got to give a lot of these actors their props, for their first films. Maybe they weren't that great, or maybe they were all right. But I think like Christopher Reeve and Superman, to this day, I still think that's the best Superman movie. I know there's some weird continuity stuff watching it now many times over the years, but Christopher Lee and Marvel Kidder are like the perfect Lois Lane and Clark Kent and Superman. Perfect.
So I
And
don't know
then
if I ever
Gene
told you
Hackman
this.
as Lex Luthor. Come on.
I don't know if I told you this story or not, but so growing up, Superman and Superman 2 were like my movies, right? And I have this famous picture of my granddad. If you look on my Facebook, my granddad's holding me with one hand because he was a badass, flying me in the air, and I'm wearing a Superman cape that my granny made me because she was a seamstress,
Oh, yeah.
just as a hobby. And I'm flying. My granddad's holding me up. So I loved Superman when I was a kid, and years later, I tried to go back and watch it, and I hated how Clark and Lois were. It just drove me nuts. And then when Man of Steel came out, I'm a big Man of Steel fan. Now I admit it's got some problems, but like overall, I think it's a phenomenal movie. And I was like, oh yeah, just I like the relationship with Lois and Clark in this, or the Dean Cain, Terry Hatcher, Lois and Clark, Superman, all that stuff. And I really kind of started to poo poo on Superman the movie. And then there was one weekend I was sick, and I think this was a Saturday night or a Sunday night. And this is just a few years back. And because I had people at the shop would get so mad at me, I'm like, oh man, I don't think Superman holds up. And they're like, oh, you're
It
crazy,
holds up.
you're crazy, you're crazy. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting arguments with people about it. And I was like, I can't stand the way that Lois is like, she's all about Superman, but Clark's like doing all this for her and all this stuff, right? So this one night, Turner Classic Movies, shout out to Ted Turner, um, for giving us some great TV, and just I love Turner Classic Movies. And I'm sitting there on the couch, I'm sick, I'm getting over being sick or whatever, and I'm flipping channels and Superman's coming on. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this, and I love how Marlon Brando is drunk off his ass, would not learn his lines. Krypton, Krypton has so many days left. No, it's Krypton. Krypton, Krypton. I just he
I
just
love
he didn't
him.
care. He didn't
I love
care.
him.
It was Marlon
Yeah,
Brando. He had
exactly.
beautiful hair. What are you gonna tell him? No.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll take your wife from you, because he's
Yeah.
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando.
So, and I'm watching it, and I can't stop watching it, David. And I
It's
watch it all the
fun.
way through, and
Yeah.
and I said, I am a dumbass because this movie still holds up, and it's
Oh yeah,
phenomenal.
it
It's
is.
and the old me came out and said, yeah, dummy, it's a great movie, and
Now,
and so yes, Superman's a great,
go-
great movie.
going from Superman to another movie that was a starring role for another aspiring actor, but one of the greatest pop singers of all time, The Wiz, and also had Diana Ross and a whole bunch of other people. It does not hold up. Unfortunately, I
Yeah,
think they had a great effort, but it just does
that's
not hold
just
up.
that's just ignorant, David. That's just ignorant. That's just ignorant. That's just ignorant talk from you.
I'm sorry, it does not hold up.
No, you're right. It's a tough one to watch, but it's fun. And and here we are. It's so funny, like stuff we're talking about is relevant to right now, like the Michael Jackson biopic, which I kept making a joke with my staff. I was like, if we
What's
do
that?
really well this weekend, I'll take everybody to see Michael Jackson. And they're like, what? And I'm like,
What's that song? Uh, uh, going down on the road, going down the road, going on down the road. How's that song?
ease on down the
Ease on
road.
down the
Yeah.
road. Let's ease on down to another year. Let's
You
move
know,
it.
Terry's watching this right now. He's like, these two son of bitches are singing. Like, Toy Talk is canceled. Toy
This
Talk
is
is
fun.
canceled.
I love it. I think we
All
can
right,
do a lot
so
more here.
so
Let's,
now we're and here's the thing, man. So Jaws, which we didn't cover 76, but Jaws started a chain reaction. So 77 took it to a whole new
whole
level.
new,
And a lot
yeah.
of people sleep on cinema in the 70s. And just kind of going back a little bit, you had The Godfather, you had a lot of Robert Redford films, you had a lot of good stuff. So we're going into 79. So now 79, we get into the hey, there's this big movie that's probably still out of the theaters, making a ton of money, and we need to capitalize on that.
Yeah,
So
and
we
guess what
had
that was? Something that
Star
was
Wars.
in the making for like 4 years. Do you know how
So we
long it
have
took to make this?
so we have Alien,
Oh,
which my
no.
parents took me to see,
I
and
was
I
just thinking
spent most of the movie looking at the guy behind us.
yeah,
Turn around, up, turn around again, turn around. I did not eat spaghetti or drink
yeah,
milk for about
yeah.
3 months after seeing
Oh,
that movie.
man, is
And
it
my
creepy.
my granny used to make really great spaghetti, and she was so offended. She said, "Why is Danny not eating my spaghetti?" And they're like,
Because it looks like a critter might crawl out of there and get
"We
him.
took him to a movie called Alien, and we were thinking it was going to be kind of like Star Wars, and it totally
No,
wasn't."
no, no.
Um,
But it is
so
a
we had
star-making role for Sigourney Weaver, which
big
is in the
time,
new Star Wars movie later this year.
yeah, isn't that crazy? Full circle,
Yes,
man.
full
Shout
circle.
out to Full Circle Toys. Um, we had the Black Hole from Disney, which is I love
Oh,
that movie.
I
We
love
saw
that
that
one.
at the
I love it.
drive-in.
It's a here's another movie. This is another movie though. I've watched this movie probably 100 times, right? But I did not catch this when it originally came out by Disney, when Disney was getting into much more serious fare, right? I did not catch this in the first few times that I watched it. That they went into the black hole, got sucked into it at the end, and he took the robot and he went inside the robot and he went through the black hole because the metal was impervious and it didn't get crushed or whatever. He came through the other side and it was like hell. I was like,
Yeah,
what the
Reinhardt
hell
and
is this?
Maximilian merged, and then
Yes.
the others were going through. It's almost like a Disney ride with like
Yeah,
stained glass windows and angels and stuff. It was a pretty wild
exactly.
movie.
It was a wild movie. Yeah.
Then my biological father, Sir Roger Moore, was in Moonraker, one of my
Oh,
favorite James Bond
Moonraker.
movies.
One of my favorite movies of all time of James Bond, Moonraker.
I
Jaws.
love, I
Ah!
love the opening. The opening in that movie, they invented the GoPro camera,
Oh,
and
wow.
I believe they did so. If people that don't know, if you watch the movie, M's like, "Where's 007?" He's finishing up a mission in Africa, and it cuts to him in a small jet, and of course, he's with a lady, and he's like, "If you go, Miss, hi, Mr. Bond, my ears are gonna pop," and then he's like, "I don't think I'm ever gonna fly again," and she pulls a gun on him, and then the pilot comes out, and they're like, "How right you are, Mr. Bond," and they're gonna shoot the controls. He's gonna crash in a plane. Bond fights a guy falls out with the chute, and then Jaws shows up. Not Jaws the shark, but Jaws with the metal teeth,
Jaws.
pushes him out of the plane, and it's got one of the best sequences in the air of him floating around. They did over 100 shots of that.
It's
Watch
weird. It's
watch the
weird,
behind the
Dan.
scenes. You'll
It's
see
weird.
the stunt. It looks like Roger Moore, but it's a stunt man.
He's a
He's got a
stuntman. Yeah.
parachute underneath the blazer, flying in the air. It's so freaking cool.
But
But it
the
has
thing
one of my
about Roger
favorite.
Moore, I don't want to bust your balloon on this. I think Roger Moore had some of the best Bond movies of all time. 6 out of his 7 movies were phenomenal movies. I love them all, but I don't particularly care for Roger Moore as a James Bond at all. I think Sean Connery is the best James Bond,
I
with
agree.
maybe a little bit of Timothy Dalton and George Lazenby are really close to Sean Connery, and it saddens me to say this because I love a lot of Roger Moore's movies. It's just I don't think he's a good James Bond.
He was so nice. Like he would, like Sean Connery would kiss the girl and then stab her with the butter knife. Roger Moore would kiss her and be like, "Oh, could you pass the butter knife, please?" And the whole Sean Connery or Roger Moore is my biological dad
Yeah,
nonsense.
yeah.
But there's some guy in Indiana that thinks that's a true story, even though I clearly said it was a prank I pulled on a
Well,
coworker one
I
time.
don't think he has any children because he's gay.
Roger
Sorry to
Moore?
burst your bubble. Yeah, Roger
No,
Moore
no,
is
no. He's
gay.
got kids. He
No,
wasn't gay.
maybe
His
no, he's gay.
No,
100%. Look
he's
it up.
not. His son is. Yeah, he had a wife and all that.
Well, maybe he didn't know he was gay at that point, but he's
Well,
gay.
he had me, so that's
Oh God,
definitely.
get out of here.
Um, has one of the best lines ever. He's on the cable car with Dr. Holly Goodhead, and he goes, "I should have known Jaws. James, do you know him? Not socially, but he kills people for a living." I freaking pop every time I hear that line. Okay, so going back to the list.
Have you ever met Jaws? Have you ever met the actor that plays
No, I
Jaws?
would have loved to.
I have. He's Richard Keel. He is a funny guy.
I loved when he was in Happy
He's tall
Gilmore.
too. Very
Well, he's
tall.
gone now too. He died a few years
Yeah.
ago, but
Yeah.
I loved when he was given in Happy Gilmore, giving Shooter McGavin all the business, and like he turns around and sees him. He's like, he takes the golf clubs and like he's Richard Kill was a cool guy. I loved him in Cannonball Run.
Oh
So
yeah.
we also have Escape from Alcatraz with Clint Eastwood. We have The Warriors, which is one of my all-time
Oh,
favorite movies.
what a cult movie that is. You know
Oh
who's in
man,
that? You know who's
cause
in that
riots
movie?
in New York City.
Do you know who's in that movie? Here's a bit of a G.I. Joe trivia. Bet you
David
don't
Patrick
know.
Kelly's in it.
No, Larry Hama is in it.
What?
Yes.
I didn't know Larry. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch that now. I didn't know Larry was
He's
in
an
that.
actor. Larry Hama is an actor, and he's
No,
in
I
a
know
lot
he
of
was on Saturday Night Live, MASH,
MASH,
been
a
in
whole bunch of stuff.
stages.
But he was in Warriors as well.
We had the Muppet movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
I can't read my handwriting here. Amityville Horror.
Ooh, yeah.
With that never saw it, never want to see it. The movie trailers of that freaked me out. I
I
was grabbing my
saw it.
mom and dad in the theater.
I
Like
saw
while
it
we're
many
waiting to
years
see
later.
Alien.
Yeah.
While we're
I
waiting
saw
to see Alien.
Yeah.
You know.
You
And
know,
speaking of Alien, so
it took me 20 years to see Alien.
did you ever have Thornberry's toys?
Yes.
Okay, so Thornberry's was a toy store in the Midwest and going to the South. And they had an old chap, the alien figure, right? And so, like, I'm a kid and I'm trying to get to the Playmobil. That old chap's sitting there on the end cap, and I cannot walk past that thing. I was like, Dad, will you walk over here with me? He's like, what's wrong? I was like, that thing's over there. He's like, oh, yeah, come on. Had the damn translucent head. That scared the crap out of me, man. My dad had to walk me over to the Playmobil so Big Chap Alien wouldn't get me.
You know, that's worth a lot of money, that toy, that Alien toy.
Big time. Now, we also have, this year in 79, we have Mad Max, which put Mel Gibson on the map.
Yeah.
Well, we have Meatballs.
Gallipoli. He was in Gallipoli first, but yeah,
Mad Max, but, you know,
that's his starring role. Yeah.
We had Meatballs.
Oh, I love Meatballs.
Speaking of horror, we had The Phantasm.
Oh yeah.
All that jazz. We had a Chuck Norris movie, A Force of One.
Oh, that was a great one.
We had 1941. We had a Sean Connery movie called Meteor. Have you ever seen that?
I have. It's not that great.
It's got Sean Connery in it.
Exactly.
We have Time After Time.
That's a great movie. That's another Christopher Reeve movie. That's a time traveling type thing. It's like a romance.
No. Time After Time is Christopher Reeve's not in that. It's Malcolm McDowell and David Warner, and it's directed by Nicholas Meyer.
I get that one mixed up.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do love that movie because it's Sherlock Holmes and
Moriarty
going to the future.
Or is it Jack the Ripper? No, sorry, it's Jack the Ripper, I think, and then Sherlock Holmes going after him.
Something like that.
But Time After Time was directed by Nicholas Meyer.
Yeah.
Who, because of that movie, got the gig to direct Wrath of Khan.
Yeah. You're right.
Which we will get to on it because we don't have 82 in this this lineup here. Malcolm McDowell and David Warner. And David Warner was a staple of the 80s. Time Bandit, Time After Time, Star Trek V.
The movie with the horror movie with oh god, Tron. What's the Tom Cruise movie? He's been in tons of stuff. David Warner. He was all over the place. Yeah.
Oh, he also did the voice of Ra's al Ghul in the Batman animated series.
Yep.
Then we also have North Dallas 40, and then the movie called The Black Stallion, which I remember seeing that in the theater.
Yeah, that has Mickey Rooney in it, and yeah, that was a big movie in the that year for that property and stuff like that, based on the novel and stuff. I saw most of those movies, you know. And the funny thing is, some of these movies that we're talking about, they went into TV series like Battlestar Galactica in '88.
Yeah, there's two movies I left off. I haven't spoken of yet.
Buck Rogers,
Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Well, there you go. That's the one I thought you were going to talk about at the
first one. It was
Aliens.
And then Apocalypse Now with Marlon Brando, Martin Sheen, Lawrence Fishburne, whole cast.
Where didn't you have Buck Rogers?
I think, was that 79?
It was around that time. Yeah,
I thought it was like 80 or something.
It went into a TV series. They ended up with
they did like the TV show and a movie.
Yeah, the
I,
movie
I
was first.
swear I remember seeing Battlestar Galactica on TV before I saw it in the theater.
Oh well,
But
possibly.
it just might be one of those Mandela effects.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
because ever since they turned on CERN, everything's all messed up, time's
Um,
altered and
I'm
whatnot.
not sure if you're reading this chat, but there are people commenting on here. There was one that he commented, I think in 77 was Rocky. Did Rocky come out in 77?
No,
Uh,
Rocky was 76.
okay. What about Escape from the Alcatraz? What
Yeah, I
year was
mentioned
that?
that.
Oh, okay. Then they mentioned somebody that was in the Wiz. Nipsey Russell was the Tin Man. I've never
Yep.
heard of Nipsey Russell before, but I
Well, there's
believe
another
him.
big movie that came out. Rocky 2 came out this year.
Oh, Rocky 2.
Yeah, where Rocky actually beats Apollo. They
Yeah,
have
wow.
the classic rematch, and Rocky wins. And man, I just remember, I think we went to Target and got some boxing gloves, like kid boxing gloves. And I was boxing my dad in the living room. Yeah, right. That's still the good. I mean, I'm a big Stallone fan, and
Oh,
no,
me too.
I cannot see the chat. So if you could do the honors on reading the
Yeah, I'll
chats, I would
read stuff
appreciate
if
it.
it comes up in the chat. Sure.
Um, Everybody like, shut up, Dan. That's what they're saying. No, but
No,
Rocky Two's on
people
there.
said congratulations to you for the show, Dan, and
Oh, thank
they
you.
said also congratulations for a free comic book day, your success there, and then they're bringing up several different people in different movies.
Cool. So that's a phenomenal year because it's the last year of the '70s. We have a lot of the trying to catch the Star Wars craze
Oh
with
yeah,
Moonraker, Alien, Star Trek,
yeah.
and then Star Trek: The Motion Picture. We could do a
Well,
whole show on that.
Well, that's
Where
I want to talk a little bit about it at least.
yeah,
That was a movie that they were trying to do, or there was a TV show before Star Wars came out. So they were trying to do a revival Star Trek show based on the fact that the animated series by Filmation got 2 Emmy Awards, the Star Trek animated series. So they're like, oh, we need
which
to
is a
bring this
fun
back.
show,
It was a great show, it was.
and I
But
believe
they're like, we need to
I
bring
believe
this
they
back.
consider it continuity too.
Yeah, it was a little bit off. There's a couple of glitches with it, but regardless, it got 2 Emmys, and they were like, "Okay, I think we can revive Star Trek. I think there's enough audience for people watching it at home after school and in the mornings before they went to school and stuff like that." And they created this whole audience. They're like, "I think it's time to do another Star Trek TV show revival." So they started to work on this, and it was going to be like the next generation before
Star
the
Trek
next
Phase
generation.
Two.
Right.
So a
Phase two.
little bit of quick trivia with that. So they did a convention, and all the primary actors went there, and they were blown away by how many people. I think it was like 10,000 people at this convention, which is a big deal for back in the
Oh yeah, in the 70s. Yeah.
'70s. And and they're like, wow, we didn't realize we had this many fans. People like love this. And there's a cool picture of all the primary actors on stage. Of course, they got the big '70s sideburns and wild hair, and George Takei is smiling like he is going to be at Camp Burger King for the summer or something. I don't know. But for those that know, you know. But
Yeah.
he and Roddenberry was going to do Star Trek Phase Two. It was going to be
Yeah.
a TV show, and then Aaliyah was in it,
Ilea.
and then the guy there was a guy that was going to replace Spock. They used his name in the motion picture. He died a horrible death in the transporter room, but that was going to be played by this one guy. They had filmed scenes.
Yeah.
That guy ends up being on I think it's the Epsilon 1 space station, where he's like, Enterprise, this thing's reading blah, 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 of cubic feet or whatever. That's that actor. So they were throwing these people into the movie to give them a bone because they weren't going to be on this TV show.
Right.
And then they were going to do a movie.
It was because of Star Wars. They
Yeah, they were going to do a
shifted
movie, then
gears.
they weren't. And then Star Wars came out, and they're like, "Yeah, we're doing a movie."
Yeah. So it was like
Now,
a 4-year process to make Star Trek the motion picture.
hell, probably longer
But
than
one of the
that.
interesting things, well, yeah, probably longer than that. You're right, because of all the post and all that stuff.
And
And
Robert Weiss
script.
is a great director. He
Oh yeah.
directed Andromeda Strain, and he directed this. And Andromeda Strain is somewhere on our list somewhere. It might be 76, but
One of the
he didn't know anything about Star Trek, and he had to rely on William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. And there was a lot of stuff with Roddenberry, the director, the actors,
Well, wasn't there a lot of contractual negotiation with Leonard Nimoy? He was not in the TV rival. They had the other guy, and they had to really work him to get him into the motion picture and stuff like that. And he made a
He
lot of money off of that to
he
get
said
that
he would
role.
do it if they gave royalties to I think it was Walter Koenig and Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite stories about Star Trek is when Nichelle Nichols was going to leave the show, and she was very unhappy with things.
Oh yeah. Martin
Um,
Luther King got involved.
yeah, thanks for spoiling the story there.
Ah!
Gene Roddenberry, wow. Gene Roddenberry says there's a fan that wants to talk to you in the dressing room, and she walks in and there's Dr. King. He's like, sister, you can't leave this show. You represent us in space. You show that we make it. You're not a janitor. You're a lieutenant. You're an important part of this. And she stayed. And I just thought that's such a beautiful, great story. But yeah, the motion picture,
But
I like that movie.
There's something I want to talk about. The guy that played Decker, he went on to be in a TV series.
I don't know if we want to talk about Decker.
No, a long running series, like 14 seasons, called Seventh Heaven or whatever. But he ended up doing some bad, naughty stuff. I met him the day that he was arrested for the naughty stuff at Dragon Con.
Wow.
And, so he's in jail now. The guy that
Did
played
you narc
Decker.
him out?
I didn't know, but
You're like, it's this guy here.
But I did meet him, and he was very nice and friendly when I met him. So maybe
He's
too
probably
friendly.
trying to get with you. You're probably really young looking, and he's like, "Hey, how old are you? Are you underage?"
I was in my 30s, but whatever.
Oh, no, he probably thought you were 12. That seemed to be his speed.
Well, I do look younger than my age.
It's yes, you do. It was a yeah. He kind of grosses me out. Well, that's the only thing I don't like about motion pictures. He's in it because
Decker.
he's kind of like pre-Epstein list.
Yeah,
He's like Epstein list before it was an Epstein list. But we don't want to talk about dirty, dark stuff like
Well, I
that.
just thought it was an interesting thing about that. But I always liked Persis Kambata, Ilea, and she only did like 3 movies, and then she passed away of like a brain aneurysm. She
Yeah, it sucks.
do a lot.
She was. I just like what she kept saying, "Kirk unit, because he loved that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna jump ahead to 1980. Now, 1980 is a pretty solid year because
I'm going to tell you the main movie that I saw in 1980 at the drive-in theater. And when people ask me what is the first movie you remember seeing at the theater, and this always is the movie that comes up to me when people do those lists on Facebook. Facebook, and it's the number one movie that I always say. The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas is the number one.
I just laugh thinking about the Venture Brothers. When Dr. Venture is like, I've got this movie I'm going to watch called Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. I'm going to put the boys to bed early and I'm going to enjoy the night. And Brock Sampson's like, Doc, I don't think that's the type of movie you're thinking it is. Oh, no, Brock, you can watch it with me if you want. And it's like, yeah, that's not what you think.
I love
it. That's Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton. What a combination those two were.
And Burt Reynolds' partner, Dom DeLuise.
I love Dom DeLuise.
There's a few other people. It's a great movie. I have the DVD of it. That's how much I love it.
Burt Reynolds. I love Burt Reynolds, man. When he died, I cried my eyes out.
He had a cool long life, though. He had a long life. He was 92, I think, when he died. He had a long life.
Have you ever seen a movie called Stick?
No.
Stick is what? Look it up. It's a gangster movie. It's pre-Miami Vice, before Miami Vice. I think they might be in Dade County or Fort Lauderdale, somewhere like that. And he's Stickley is his name, but they call him Stick. It's a great. Candice Bergen's in it. I can't think of the guy's name. He's a big Burt Reynolds friend. He was in Morning Glory, Evening Shade, or whatever with him. He's also the Baron in Dune, but that guy's in it. There's an albino guy that was a popular guy in that time period's in it. And it's just a great movie, but look it up. That's a Burt Reynolds movie. And we'll cover that one.
So many great movies, Smokey and the Bandit 2,
Cannonball Run,
Best Little Whorehouse. He had a period that he was just phenomenal. Everything he did was great.
And he was a solid guy too, man.
Wasn't
solid
he in a
guy
movie?
Huh?
Wasn't he in a football movie too? I can't recall.
The Longest Yard.
He was in. He was a football player first, right?
Yeah, he played quarterback, I think, at Florida State University.
Yeah.
Somebody might correct me on that if I'm wrong, but
No.
he played at Florida. I think it was Florida State. He was a big Gators fan,
Yeah.
and then he was in The Longest Yard, and then he was in The Longest Yard remake. And it's kind of unsaid that he might kind of be the same character.
Yeah.
So 1980, we have Popeye with Robin Williams and what's her name?
That came out in
Uh,
1980.
yes,
You sure?
yes, yes. What's her name? Southern. I, I'm having
That's
a blank.
that is so weird because I thought he did Popeye after Mork and Mindy.
No, well, yeah, Mork and Mindy was like the 70s.
Hmm.
So we have Smokey and the Bandit 2. We have one of my all-time favorite movies, Caddyshack. And then we
That was
have
out in 1980.
yeah, 1980, and we have the greatest movie of all time, Empire Strikes Back, the sequel to Star Wars.
Now, I did see that in the theater.
We have Raging Bull with Robert De Niro, very young Robert De Niro. We have 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton.
Love that one.
Well, that's a great movie. Great song, too. Dabney Coleman, I loved him in the 80s. He was an 80s staple. We have Kramer versus Kramer, which was a big deal back then. We had the Blues Brothers, just an American classic movie. And then we have Friday the 13th, debuted in 1980.
Yeah,
Then
I
we
thought that
have-
was earlier, but apparently not. Yeah.
I thought it was later, actually. But then we have Superman 2, which is another phenomenal movie. We have we have Private Benjamin,
Yeah, I love that one.
Goldie Hawn, great movie. We have The Final Countdown.
The final countdown.
Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we're totally banned from Toy Talk now. We have Fame, which was a great TV show.
Kevin says Popeye was not good. I liked it. I guess I was only like 6 when that came out. I can't click on any comments. I can see them. So Kevin Robbins, JR5440 says he didn't like Popeye. I liked it.
I'm with you, Kevin. I'm with you on that one. It was too much. It was like too much Robin Williams unleashed.
Can I pay you for a hamburger Tuesday for today, Dan? Would you be up for that?
You bring some Steak and Shake. We had Steak and Shake on Free Comic Book Day, and that was so damn good. I was like, I told my boy Noah, if you're watching, I said, Noah, go get us some Steak and Shake. And we could have got anything we wanted. But anyway,
that was when that Popeye movie is when they started doing a lot of comic strips from the newspapers as films. So this is a pattern as we go
Shelley
along.
Duvall. Sorry, Shelley Duvall's in that as Olive Oil.
Yeah,
she's in that as Olive Oil. That's the I couldn't remember. Then we have John Travolta in Urban Cowboy.
Oh boy, that's
we have another one of the Star Wars ripoffs, Saturn III, with Kirk Douglas in Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Then we have Kurt Russell in Used Cars, which really showed his comedic side. And then we have Flash. Defender of the Universe, Flash Gordon.
Love that movie.
You know, it's funny because that movie tried so hard to be Star Wars, Star Wars level movie, and it bombed. It failed. But it's gotten so much better over time.
Yeah, it's a cult classic today.
Oh, man, it's great.
Another one of the biggest sci-fi movies of all time. I don't know if you said it yet, but Dune.
No, Dune came out in 84.
It did?
Yeah.
I thought it was 80.
No, 84. We'll get there, David. We'll get there.
I'm Googling these things.
You can Google all you want. It came out in 84. Altered States came out. Then another one of the Star Wars ripoffs, Battle Beyond the Stars, that had everybody and their mother in that movie.
You're right, 1984.
Hangar 18, which I recently rewatched last year. It's about an alien thing, some people and astronauts in an alien ship, and people get killed. They're covered up.
You know what's weird is my memories are a little bit weird because of my childhood. I just don't know some of the things when they came out. I just remember seeing them as a child. Maybe I saw them on HBO or Cinemax or whatever, and maybe I thought they came out later or whatever, like Popeye and Dune. I don't know.
Well, I can tell you, I saw. We'll go back to one of the previous lists. 1978's Felicity. I saw that on Showtime After Hours.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't get grounded for revealing that.
That's where I
You know
saw
how
the
it
Love
was
Is
where the
Good.
cable lines would go like that, and you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
"Oh, I think that's a. Oh, that is what that is. Ooh, sweet. You know,
Ah,
you can
that's
actually
where
do that."
that's where that's where all those Roger Corman movies ended up going to. All those ones that we've named over the last 2-3 years, they all went to HBO and Cinemax.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I just remember HBO in like 82, 83 was like Road Warrior, Dreamscape. Like from
Yeah.
82 to 85, they constantly played Road Warrior, Dreamscape, and Commando.
Yeah.
And there was a Jeff Goldblum movie with Michelle Pfeiffer called Into the Night, which was a fun movie. I need to revisit that. Also, we had The Octagon with Chuck Norris. And it's funny you mentioned Dune because in Dune they do the self you hear their thoughts. And the
Yeah.
Octagon, they did that before Dune, and it would echo. He would be like, Sakura, 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 can I kill my brother, brother, brother? So my buddy and I would run around the neighborhood doing that crap. You can only imagine how annoying that was to our other friends. Then we have one of my favorites that I recently saw all the way through for the first time a couple years ago, The Fog.
The original Fog was actually quite an interesting
Such a fun
movie
movie.
because of what they did for the limited amount of stuff that they could do. You know, the little creature like fingers coming out of the fog, or the little bit you see someone's eyes, or you see little things, and it was a phenomenal movie to play on your mind and tricks of the brain and everything like that. They use so many tricks to make
And
you
my
think
boy
there's
Tom
more
Atkins in
there.
it from Halloween 3.
Oh, it's a great movie for an original version of that. But yeah, I love the Fog, the original Fog.
So then we also have Star Crash,
Another
another
ripoff.
Star Wars ripoff.
Man, was that a oh boy? I was gonna say a bad word, but very feminine movie.
Then we had the Elephant Man,
No,
which,
I love that. That was such a creepy movie, but I loved it.
and then we had Oh God 2,
I'm trying to think. What's his name?
George
Was the
Burns.
Elephant Man?
Oh,
Was the Elephant Man? Was he was in Aliens, and he was in
oh,
Doctor
was
Who?
it John Hurt?
John
Or
Hurt. Yes, man, was that a fantastic
Kane?
role? He got the Academy Award for that.
Great actor, man. I was sad when he passed away. Of course, he
Yeah.
was in Hellboy.
Oh yeah.
He was his kind of surrogate father, if you will.
Yeah.
So I wrote down studying all this. The key trends to take away was horror and comedy that year because they kind of really amped up the horror,
Yeah.
because you started the whole thing with Friday the 13th. Then they had a lot of comedy and Popeye, Smokey the Bandit, Caddyshack, and there's all types of stuff that we don't have. 9 to 5.
I love 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5.
What a way to
make
make a
a living.
living. Dolly
Daphne
Parton,
Coleman is so
Jane
hilarious.
Fonda, and who was the other lady in that?
Let's see, Dolly Parton,
Oh,
Lily Tomlin, and Jane Fonda.
yes, Lily Tomlin.
Yeah,
Who
and
she's in a
Daphne
Steve.
Coleman.
Yes, love Dabney. She's in a Steve Martin movie where they like trade places or something, and I loved that movie as a kid. That
The
was also on
Castle Place.
HBO all the time.
You know
So
what's so funny about a lot of these movies? They added a new category this year to the Academy Awards, casting. Oh my God, some of the cast that they had in those old movies were absolutely phenomenal. It would have been so hard to pick best cast in that era of filmmaking. Wow.
well, just take a movie like Caddyshack. You had the great Ted Knight, Rodney Dangerfield, Chevy Chase, Bill Murray. I mean, gosh, man, to get those guys in a movie together, it's like,
Yeah.
and there was issues with that movie. There's like you can watch the behind the scenes, or Ted Knight was really bothered by Chevy Chase, and Chevy Chase and Bill Murray didn't get along or whatever. A lot of people apparently don't get along with Chevy Chase.
Yeah, a lot of people.
But that's that. I love that movie. And my first job ever, David, was a golf caddy.
It
and it
was.
is just like Caddyshack. It is exactly like Caddyshack, except I didn't get to hook up with Judge Smell's daughter. I did go out with the guy that created Humana. I went out on kind of a pseudo date with his daughter, so that might kind of count. I don't know, but that was kind of fun. But
A couple of comments from the chat here.
yes,
Kevin Robinson says, I'm the same way. I don't remember the years older movies were released. And he says, Elephant Man was wild and Caddyshack was awesome.
thank you, Kevin. And no, Kevin, we don't have any new Transformers yet. I'm waiting on some toys to come in. Um, he's probably laughing right now. He's like, "You crazy, Dan?"
Speaking of toys, guess what? I was able to pre-order. I had a feeling this was going to happen, and I ordered it from another credit card, and it went through. I'm hoping to get it next week.
On your Walmart
Duke,
thing?
My two Dukes, Scooby Dukes.
That's a good one, man. I'm gonna steal that from you. Use it Sunday. You'd be like, "I came up with that, Dan." Like, shut up,
You
David.
haven't heard that yet? You've never heard of that?
No, I said he looked like Duke from Duke. It is Duke. He looks like Freddy from Scooby Doo, but Scooby Duke. That's great.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. So, all right, now we're gonna get into 1981, and if we're going a little fast for you guys, let us know. But we're trying to,
Is First Blood in 1981?
No, that's a little bit later. I think
First
that's 82.
Blood?
82 is going to be an entire show by itself. Because here's the thing I love about this era.
It's like
this
the largest slate of films ever in one summer that you could possibly imagine. It's like
this is what I love about this era. Because of Star Wars, because of Jaws, and mostly because of Star Wars, everything just kept boom, 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 boom. So you're getting sequels, you're getting all types of cool stuff. So in 1981, we have For Your Eyes Only with my biological father, Sir Roger Moore, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Just iconic film.
Yep.
Road Warriors. Which I have to double check that. For some reason, I was thinking that was 82. I get some of my years, I get a little mixed up because of.
See, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, a little bit. On Golden Pond, which I know that's probably one of your favorite movies.
That one, Best Picture.
He did. Year. Yep. He did. Escape from New York with our boy Kurt Russell. Lee Van Cleef. Van Cleef and Tom Atkins is in that.
Tons of people in that. God, it's loaded.
Werewolf in London. American Werewolf in London.
Broke the pattern on best special effects for a film. Incredible with the fingers and the morph of the head and the feet. My God, it was like incredible.
Speaking of werewolves, I just got a PDF for Universal Monsters Werewolf, the Werewolf or whatever they're calling it, from Skybound. Cannonball Run, which I absolutely love those movies.
People are in that? God, that talking about best cast, that movie's got everybody in it. You not only said Jaws,
Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, Telly Savalas.
What's his name? Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan, Jaws, Sir Roger Moore.
Telly Savalas.
Adrian Barbeau. When Wyatt was a couple of years ago, I was showing him the opening to Cannonball Run with the guys, the song and all that. Yeah. Cannonball, da, 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 da. And like the girls pull up in the Ferrari and they do a big X on the speed limit sign.
Yeah.
He goes, Daddy, those are bad girls. And I said, Wyatt, I'm going to give you the most important advice I could ever give you in life. If you're ever standing by in a Ferrari with two bad girls pulls up and they tell you to get in, you get in and don't look back, buddy. And you keep going.
And you should have said, yeah, and we like them. You said they're bad girls and we like them.
Oh, when they were unzipping, to get their IDs out.
Yeah.
And then they got pulled over by a lady cop. That was so great.
Oh, that movie is phenomenal.
Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans. You know who's in that movie? You know who helped with the special effects? A friend of mine that has the same name as me.
Yeah.
David Allen, the special effects artist, worked with Ray Harryhausen on Clash of the Titans.
That was Ray's last movie.
Maggie Smith is in that movie. There's so many great actors. Harry Hamlin. Oh my God.
Harry Hamlin and Ursa Andress. Am I saying her name right? Ursa, is it Andrus?
Andrus.
Yeah, they hooked up, got together.
Who was Zeus? I'm trying to think. That was a
Oh,
British
Sir Laurence Olivier.
Laurence Olivier. Yes, man. That
Um,
God.
Burgess Meredith is in it. That little robot owl was flying around.
Speaking of
That was a
Burgess, we missed him in a couple of the Rocky movies. Um, so we should
Rocky
have
One,
talked to him.
Rocky Two.
Yeah, Burgess Meredith was incredible in those.
You gotta eat lightning and crap thunder. Um, we had Dudley Moore and Arthur,
Oh yeah, Arthur.
which
That
had
was
the
a fun
great
movie. I
Christopher
didn't.
Cross song.
I
Da,
never
da, da,
got
da,
that.
da, da, da,
Yeah, there's
da.
some good music in it. You're right,
Oh
but I
man.
never got that movie when I first saw it. It took me many years later to see that again, and then I understood it a little bit better.
Have you ever listened to Christopher Cross?
Yeah, I have.
Man, I was listening to like Sailing and then the If You Ever Caught Between the Moon and New York City song. And man,
Yeah,
it was tearing me up. I was like, what is wrong? I'm like, I'm getting older or
that
what's going on?
that's a
Maybe I
whole
need to
nother episode. Is all the music
oh,
of all this period.
oh my gosh. It's epic, epic, epic. So then we have Excalibur
Oh man, it's Excalibur. Boy, is that a wild
with
version
Liam
of that
Neeson and
story.
Sir Patrick Stewart are
For
in that.
Patrick and
Gabrielle Byrne.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
His first movie, a bunch of people, but that was a wild version of it. I love it. I love that movie, but it's a different type of movie.
Now we have also Chariots of Fire.
Kevin says on the chat, Clash of the Titans is certified classic.
Yes, sir. Funny story. We had a group of people from the store to go see the remake, and the when the Kraken is falling, it turns to stone, and all the rocks are falling. My buddy that was sitting with me, and if he was watching this, he would laugh his ass off right now. And warning, we're gonna have a little language here. These girls that were sitting in front of us were like those rocks would have crushed them in the water. And he goes, bitch, it's a Kraken. Like, it's not real. Like, he was just like going off on him. And I'm just sitting here like, oh my gosh.
I met
Excuse
Ray
my language.
Harryhausen. I met Ray Harryhausen at a convention, and I talked to him about this movie. That the whole art of stop motion animation is really lost. But one of the things that struck me about the new Star Wars movie, they went back to all the old techniques from years and years ago on the old original Star Wars, and there's stop motion in the new Star Wars Mandalorian and Grogu, and I'm so happy about that. That we got
Well,
something that's stop motion.
you know, I tell you what's kind of cool is there's a lot of, excuse me, I've seen a lot of people in the toy community post videos,
Oh yeah,
stop motion with G.I. Joe, Marvel
Yep.
Legends, Star Wars, and Transformers.
Yep.
And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, you're right. It is a lost art. Okay, so we have
Sorry, I keep even interrupting.
no, it's perfect. It's a conversation, you know. It's in like, CNN or Fox News. We're sitting there. And next on the list is so we have Chariots of Fire, which had da 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 da. I just remember some guy running on the beach, and I'm like, can we just
Yeah,
get to Raiders of the Lost Ark?
And that won best movie of that year. I'm like, what the hell were you people in the Academy thinking? What was so great about that movie? I've seen it. It puts me to sleep every time I see it. The
Maybe it
music is
inspired.
great.
Maybe it inspired Carl Lewis. I don't know.
Maybe.
So then we have Burt Reynolds and Sharky's Machine, which is a kick-ass cool movie.
Yeah.
Then we have The Lion in the Desert, another great movie. We have The Omen 3, which has Dr. Alan Grant in it from Jurassic Park, and it has one of the silliest scenes in the ever where he's hunting with beagles. You know, he's the Antichrist, and he can control beasts.
Right.
And these monks have these daggers they got from Jerusalem that can kill him. And you got like one monk, this big ass monk is on a horse, and you got another monk at the other end of the bridge, and it's like he's like looking at him, and it's like ha 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 ha, and the horse starts bucking around and throws the big guy down, and then all the dogs turn to the other guy, and I'm like, use a sniper rifle, take him down with a sniper rifle, then go stab him. Yeah, it's not going to kill him, but he won't be able to like be like Aquaman and command the beasts or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I watch it, I just laugh, and I don't think you're meant to laugh at that part. but it
No.
just makes me laugh. So then we have Taps,
Taps
another classic film.
with
Mr. Tom Cruise.
uh Taps. Is it the tap dancing movie Taps?
Oh my gosh. How do I kick you off here?
No.
Terry, where are you at?
Wasn't
No,
there a
Taps
movie?
was this is a
Wasn't there a
military
movie?
movie. Military movie. I think it's the
What
one where
am what am
they took or no, I might be getting that mixed up with something else.
what
But
am I
anyway,
getting it
Taps.
mixed up?
So then Night
But
Stalkers. They're not sorry, not Night Stalk. Goodness sakes, David. I'm gonna
well,
blame that
wait a
one on
minute. I
you.
want to go back to this Taps because it had this phenomenal tap dance artist that was in that, and he got an Academy Award for Best Actor for that movie, the movie he was in. If I'm thinking of the right movie, it
Now
was Taps.
Taps was a military movie. Look it
All
up.
right. Okay,
I
so
think
it's
it was
not the
like
same
Tom Cruise,
movie.
like in a military academy. They
Okay.
take over the academy or something. I could be
Yeah.
getting them mixed up.
Is
Then we
that
have,
Tom Cruise's first movie, I believe?
I think so. Then we have Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone and Billy D. Williams and Rutger Hauer. That's a classic.
I don't have a lot of memories of Night Stalkers or whatever, Nighthawk or whatever. Was that a helicopter movie?
No, no, no. He's a New York cop. Rutger Hauer's a terrorist, and he's in New York causing bad stuff to happen.
Hmm.
And I just remember I got pissed because Billy D. Williams gets his throat cut, but he lives. I think he lives. And then I think there's a scene where like Stallone's in drag, like he's undercover trying to catch this guy or something. Because I think this guy had like an affinity for hookers or something. Um, now we have Eye for an Eye with Chuck Norris, another great movie. Then we have the sequel to Halloween, Halloween 2, which I like that movie. It's got one of my crushes on it. Anna Alicia from Falcon Crest is in it. And I get pissed off every time Michael Myers kills her. And
I
when I
think
watch
what's his
that
face
movie,
bailed, right? Jamie Lee Curtis bailed on the
no,
second
she
one.
was in it. She was
She
in it.
was. All
Yeah.
right.
And then now here's a bit of Halloween trivia for you here in a second. But anytime I watch Halloween 2, I'm kind of sitting there like gushing over Anna Alicia. I get in trouble with my wife every time I watch that.
Oh man.
And she's still hot at 60 something. I'm just saying, Anna Alicia, if you're by chance watching my podcast, let's go back
No,
to Falcon Crest. So
no
anyway,
chance.
Halloween. So in Halloween 2, there's an ambulance driver that his character likes Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and in the movie continuity, they end up hooking up later on. It's explained. So that actor is the actor in Last Starfighter, the
I
Alex Rogan,
love I
and then
love this last Starfight.
the director of Last Starfighter is Michael Myers in Halloween 2, and then the villain in Halloween 3, the old Irish white guy, he's the alien with all the kids in the Last Starfighter. So and we'll get to that when we get to Last Starfighter in another episode.
That's in 82, I think.
No, that's I think 84, 85, something like that.
Last Starfighter?
Yeah, 84, I believe.
Mm.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal year for movies. So then kind of in the same horror vein in a way as Southern Comfort. Have you ever seen that?
Nah.
And think of like Rambo meets Deliverance.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a National Guard unit gets stuck in the bayou and has to deal with like hillbillies.
Yeah, you were right.
It's a
1984.
pretty wild movie. Then we have Michael Mann's Thief with James Caan. Do you know what James Caan's first movie was?
Was it one of the Godfathers?
Nope, El Dorado with John Wayne and Robert Mitchum. One of my favorite movies.
Okay, interesting.
Plays a character named Mississippi. He has this really long, exaggerated name, and he goes by Mississippi. It's a bit of a kind of a little bit in the movie. It's pretty funny. Then we have Quest for Fire, where cavemen learn to make fire, I guess. Then we have Neighbors, which I saw that as a kid, and I was running around saying, "Oh, I want a porker," and because that meant something in that movie, and my mom and dad were like, "Yeah, stop saying that. Don't ever say that again." I'm like, "But I want to pork my neighbor. Is that cool? Like they porked in the movie?" I'm like, no, don't say that.
The same thing with Porkies, where if you had a neighbor and you had a hole in your fence, you could do some porking.
Man, I thought forever that Porky's was a cartoon. And I was
It's
like,
a high school
I'm like telling my
movie.
grandparents, like, Mom and Dad are going to take me to see Porky's. And they're like, we need to talk to you about your parenting. You're like, what are you doing? First there was Alien. He doesn't eat spaghetti anymore or drink milk. Now you're taking him to Porky's. And there's something about he's watching HBO after hours. Something about the Felicity. Anyway,
But that's the
then
thing.
we
The parents didn't really care. The parents didn't even care. The kids could
some
go and do whatever the hell they
1980s.
wanted. It was the
And
80s.
one until that damn Will Smith song, Parents Just Don't Understand, did
Yeah.
parents start caring.
Yeah.
You guys, if you're watching this and you're of a certain age, back in the day, you could go out from as long as you eventually came home, you
Yeah.
could
When the
go out.
lights on the street came on, you had to
Yeah,
be home by that
you could
point.
ride your bike. It was
Yeah.
like Goonies every day.
Yeah. It
Pirate
was
ships,
adventures. Yep.
deformed guys, gangsters, all that stuff
All
every
that.
day until that
Exactly.
damn Will Smith song. And then parents are like, you know what? We better sharpen up on these kids. And hey, David, you gotta be home by 8:30 and in bed at 9. Like, dude, we're like in the middle of Goonies. I can't do that. Okay,
Yeah.
so then we have Sean Connery in Outland, sorry, Outland,
That was
where
a
he's
terrible movie. That was a terrible movie.
whatever. It's kind of fun. He's in space.
Yeah.
Then we have Enter the Ninja, which
That was
started the
good.
whole ninja craze.
Yeah. The whole ninja craze.
Then David Warner and Time Bandits
I love that movie, but
with
it's
a
out
lot
there.
of little people.
It's out there. Yeah, the guy that was Kenny Baker from Star Wars, R2D2 was in that.
I thought he was in that. Then we have
Warwick Davis was not.
Das Boot
Das Boot.
that came out. And then we have The History of the World Part 1.
Wow, was that a funny movie?
So that's my list for those years. And yes, guys, there's 1,000 movies that came out in all those years we did not cover. Eventually on DanCast, I'm going to go through like each year and just kind of really break it. So the nice thing about DanCast is very diverse. That we're going to talk comics, toys, movies, marketing, sports, fighting, boxing, Muay Thai, you name it. We're going to talk about everything on this show. It's not going to be just one thing. But I love movies, and just that little blip right there, 77 to 81, just kind of like
That was
catapulted the
5 years.
1980s.
5 years. Look
Just
at all
catapulted the 1980s
Oh yeah,
and
it was like the beginning of like the greatest decade, in my opinion, my personal opinion. 80s were the greatest decade for film. From 80 to I would say even 91 or 2 was the greatest decade in 2 years in film history. But that's
Oh,
just
and
my
then and
opinion.
then when we get into 82, man, 82,
It's a whole
83,
episode
84,
by
85,
itself.
86, 87, it just takes off.
Oh yeah,
It just completely takes off. And like that's where we get into young Dan saying, let me look at the movies coming out this year. Yeah, it's gonna be a great year. Or if it wasn't a good movie slate, like, yeah, it's probably not gonna be a good year. Might want to
And the
not,
funny thing about that, Dan, is there's so many good movies. It was hard for a movie to really get its footing and to get the success of stuff like Star Wars, because there wasn't a lot of movies that came out in 77. Star Wars was in the theater for a year and a half before it got
well,
pulled.
that's the thing that drives me nuts about these days. Like a movie comes out and it's in there for 2 weeks and it gets out. It's like back then, like you could go see Last Starfighter when it came out, and then go see it 3 months later because it was still the freaking summer.
If it
You
did
know,
good. If it did
yeah,
good. If it
yeah,
didn't
and
do good, then it was out within a month or so. Like Tron. I love Tron. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, but it was
fun
slap
movie.
in the middle of like 10 other blockbuster movies, and it couldn't get its footing. It was out of the theater within like a month.
Yeah, and that's it. Like it seemed like when we hit 82, which that'll be if you want to join me for a podcast on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, because that's my favorite year of film. That's my favorite year
It's
of
just
all
a lot
film
of stuff
history.
comes out.
Yeah. It's
But I
incredible.
mean, like this era, it's just so many good things. And yes, I think the 80s was the best decade ever.
Oh yeah.
And I've said this previously, and I'll say it. I'm gonna do a whole episode about it. 76 to 96, I think, was the best 20 years in our country's history, as far as like pop culture, music, sports, movies, TV, cartoons, toys. Even the Olympics
Political.
were cool. The Olympics were cool back then.
Oh yeah, Mary Lou Retton was in the Olympics in '84. The
Although I
Summer
caught a little
Olympics.
bit of the Italian women doing the curling, and I have to say I'm kind of a fan of that now.
Mary Lou Retton, though, she was a hero of mine, and some of the swimmers and stuff like that, because I was into swimming in the early '80s, stuff like that. So that was in California, the Olympics. I bet you didn't know that.
Well, I remember.
1984.
Oh yeah, yeah. My mom, my mom and dad got me some outfits that had like the Olympic rings on it, and say like
Yeah,
USA Olympics and all that.
yeah,
And I remember watching Carl Lewis run. I loved Carl Lewis.
yeah.
Um, it was
What's
a
his name
great
that transitioned was in the Olympics as well?
Jenner,
Jenner,
Bruce
yeah,
Jenner.
Bruce Jenner, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting person. Um, I said person that don't want to misgender.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
he did just that. These people have to understand, like
But look, what about
you
all
can
the political stuff? What about Haley's Comet came out in the 80s? It came through in the 80s. There was all kinds of stuff going on in the 80s. Ronald Reagan with the Star Wars program. So much weird, crazy stuff. MTV. I want my MTV, but it's
not
gone.
to
They
get
just canceled it.
political, but I'm so happy we had Ronald Reagan kind of be the father of our country during that time,
It was
because
wild.
you just felt safe. At
Yeah.
least I did.
Yeah.
And he had just a reassuring voice. He was funny. It wasn't like, I mean, they were out to get him. The media has always been out to get
Oh,
everybody.
of
How they
course.
would probably crucify George Washington. He has wooden teeth, Well, what teeth do you have, but it was just like there were so many MTV. I mean, my gosh, I don't know if you people out there know it, but there used to be a TV channel that played music videos,
Yeah,
and
it
it helped
ended
sell
like what?
albums.
It ended like 3 months ago. Is when it ended.
So sad. And I mean, when you go from like Duran Duran to 16 and pregnant, I mean, what do you expect? But the I mean, we had Michael Jackson, Madonna, and Prince just
Billy
blew up because of
Joel, Phil
MTV.
Collins,
In
God,
excess.
in excess, Queen, The Who, Guns N' Roses, yeah, Def Leppard,
The Reflex used to be one of
Poison.
my favorite songs. And there was an Ozzy Osbourne video where he turns around in the chair and he's in J.R. Ewing's office wearing a suit with a cowboy hat. And I pop every time I see that. Well, then you had like Dallas, you had Falcon
Yeah,
Crest,
Dallas.
Dynasty, Knots
Cable,
Landing,
cable television launched in the
MASH.
late '70s, and then we ended up with what? USA Network, Turner Network, Nickelodeon, all these stations, TBS, all these stations that really Fox came into it.
So
All
we're
this stuff,
so
it
we're
was
talking
great.
about movies, and I mentioned it earlier. Ted Turner passed away.
Uh,
I have mixed feelings about him in some things, but one thing I will say, he was an American icon.
yeah.
He was a pioneer and he's a maverick, and
Oh yeah.
to be respected and just what he accomplished,
Yeah.
I think he would be. I know from hearing people talk about him, he was really upset with what happened to CNN. How it went from being like the premier news reporting agency to just a political arm of a party,
It was a
and
puppet.
just very
It
biased.
became a
But
puppet show.
yeah, and just some of the nonsense, the lies and stuff. But I remember in the early '90s watching CNN, and man, they had it, the whole format, the news. I don't want to say it was entertaining. It was informative, but it kept you engaged.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
mean, you had TBS, and me being a wrestling fan, he was a. I mean, he bought WCW from the Crockett Promotions, and he believed in it, and TBS was like, "Hey,
Created.
we're not making Turner Broadcasting that we're not making money on this, Ted." And
He, he
he's like, "No,
created
I believe it's going to pan out. I believe it's going to pan out."
He created channels for every type fan you could think of, like Cartoon Network,
Oh
Turner
man,
Classic Movies for classic film enthusiasts, for CNN for news enthusiasts. He had a bunch of other channels too. Anything that you wanted, he created. He knew what the audience wanted.
he owned the Atlanta Braves for a number of years. I mean,
Oh yeah,
he was a pioneer, and I love the stories. Love him or hate him, Vince McMahon, Ted Turner, Donald Trump, uh, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all these different Madonna, and some
Personality.
of those people I like, some of them I don't like, but they kept being told, no, 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 you can't do this, you can't do this. And he said, watch me. And they took over that industry and
Yeah, yeah,
did what they were going to do. And it's just
yeah,
like, that's American, man. That's regardless of politics or religion or whatever, or this nonsense. We were created by aliens, which I don't buy, which has apparently been coming out in the news or something. Um, well,
yeah.
it's going to date this
Kevin has a
podcast.
comment. Kevin has a comment he wants to say here. He says, as a kid, Porky's was a favorite. I think you all know why. And he's got
Kevin,
two
I thought it was a
eyeballs.
cartoon. I
He's
wanted
got
to.
two eyeballs
I thought it
there.
was I thought it was a cartoon, man.
Yeah. You
I thought
thought
it
it
was
was
a
Porky
cartoon.
Pig? You thought it was Porky Pig, Warner
That well,
Brothers.
they had like some little weird animation thing,
Yeah.
and I was like, Dad, when are we gonna go see Porky's? He's like, Dad's gonna go see that with his buddies. You're not gonna go see that. Like you did this to me with this heavy metal movie, Dad. Which I think heavy metal was somewhere on that list and we missed it.
It was in
I
the
have to,
80, 81 era somewhere, but this
yeah,
one
I
was
meant to
fun.
say, you know what? Actually, I think it was 82. I think
Oh,
it came out
80.
in 82, early 82 or something.
Yeah, yeah. Could have been, yeah.
Which we're gonna do. I'm gonna do a DanCast live stream of 82, and because so many great things came out in 82, GI Joe, He Man,
Oh, a lot
you
of toy
know,
properties. Yeah, the whole industry of the toy property brands completely got turned on its head in '82 because of the what Ronald Reagan did with the whole. He didn't want people to just put on commercials, half hour, 22-minute commercials for toys. So there was a
no, it
lot
used to
of
be you couldn't do
couldn't.
commercials.
And they got away with it by taking properties like greeting cards and doing like my strawberry shortcake
Well, he did
and
away.
Care
He had his
Bears.
FCC do away with that law. It was a silly
They,
law.
yeah, they got around it by doing greeting cards, cartoons on greeting cards, properties on comic books, properties on different mediums. And he was like, "Oh, they're smarter than us, so we're just gonna let them go." And they did, and the floodgates opened.
Yeah, which thank you, President Reagan, for that because it was a silly law anyway. I don't know who
Yeah,
is it hurting to like.
yeah.
I mean, you look at that stuff, and I always talk about it in the store or in like when I do little group talks with people that you know, it's one of those things we get our values from God, family, country, or community. I get mine from all four, and like like a cartoon like Fat Albert, the boys were getting their values from community with Mudfoot. He was the guy in the park. They would always tell him like, "Hey, Albert, you all shouldn't be messing with that kid down there. He's doing, he was always giving them advice, and that was part of the community, and
And that's when
um,
you learned. You did learn something from
yeah,
these cartoons.
oh,
Bill
absolutely.
Cosby, Bill Cosby, regardless of all of his faults, he did put on a lot of good, entertaining television back in the day. So I won't
Well, and
take
the
anything away from what he gave
Cosby
us.
Show was. I hate when people say ill things about America because I don't believe it. I mean, there are some idiots out there, but like Cosby Show was the number one show, and if the country hated a certain group of people, it wouldn't be. Or Oprah would never have been the number one show. I mean, Oprah's kind of the number one attraction wherever she's at, and I don't give a damn what color somebody is. I don't care about it's a description to me, you know. And I understand that people have been slighted, obviously, throughout history, and it's terrible, and we regret that. But I don't dwell on it. I celebrate people who achieve, regardless of who they are.
I
And
do
the
it for
Cosby
their
Show,
differences. You
and I
know,
remember, I
right?
remember when Different World came on, some people were freaking out about it. And I'm like, it's okay to have a show that doesn't have white people on it. You know, I don't need to see like Black Panther. I love that. I love Black Panther, and I like that movie. I have some faults with it, but overall, I like it. But they had the guy that played Bilbo Baggins on it to be the white person entry. I'm like, I don't need him in the movie. Like, kill him off. Like, I just want to watch Wakanda. I want to watch Black Panther. I don't need somebody to look like me. I'm enjoying this. I don't care what color. Somebody said, well, heroes need to reflect you. Like, no, it would be really boring if Captain America was me. Like, Captain America runs his comic and toy store, goes home to pick his kid up from school, and does a podcast talking about movies with David, and maybe fights somebody. Like, oh, that's sign me up. No thanks. But yeah, the '80s was a great decade, man, and it just that's a whole. series of shows right there. I know what CNN was. A CNN did like the '80s year by year and going over all the highlights and stuff, and just
Yeah, they have
it
a
just
good show that talks
just
about
I still remember when Michael Jackson's hair caught on fire.
on the Pepsi commercial.
Yeah, like the world stood still for a day. I mean, over
Uh,
that.
and that what you know what another thing is I liked a lot of the advertisements. What other era can you remember advertisements, the jingles and stuff like that? Like where's the beef? Who the hell
Well,
remembers that?
that kind of was the advent of the Super Bowl commercials. Was that era? And then
What's
here's a
that
little bit of
song?
trivia for you.
What's
Here's
that song where the guy throws the T-shirt? Um, uh, um, I can't remember the song. Let me teach you the world or whatever it is.
oh, it's a
Um,
Coca Cola or something.
it's a Coca-Cola commercial, but it's like the football player like talks to
So
the kid. He gives him his T-shirt or
we
whatever.
were talking about this in the shop the other day because we're talking about the Michael Jackson movie and Michael Jackson and all that. Do you know why the Super Bowl show, the halftime show, is the way it is uh,
No, no,
when it started?
no.
So before it was the first year, I think, of the Cowboy dynasty in the '90s, and they were in California playing the Super Bowl. The year before that, and you forgive me, I don't remember who was in the Super Bowl that year. Might have been the Redskins. I don't remember, but doesn't matter. Only Cowboys, the only thing that matters.
I like the
Um,
narration of the old football games
Well, they
before the
used to
football
have
games.
just like marching bands
Funny.
performing and all that. So that year before the Cowboys Super Bowl, a show called In Living Color debuted on Fox during halftime of the Super Bowl. So when the game went to halftime, something like 40 million people switched over from the Super Bowl to In Living Color. Blew that show up like you wouldn't believe. Keenan Waynes was a genius just in his comedy and doing that with the show.
And Jim
NFL
Carrey
said that
too.
NFL said that can never ever happen again. So the next year in the halftime show, one marching band, you know who it was? Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And that's what kicked
Um,
off. That was the greatest halftime show. That and Prince.
I loved
When
Jim Carrey in Living Color. He was my favorite.
Fire Marshal Bill,
Yeah,
Vera DeMilos.
yeah.
Well, I just remember telling friends in high school, like, man, you got to see this show coming on. The guy from I'm Gonna Get You Sucker is in it, and he's doing Mike Tyson. And you're like, oh man, shut up, Dan. And the show comes
Um,
out, and you're like, oh,
Kevin
you were right.
Kevin in the chat says the '80s was a time to be alive.
Yes, sir, Kevin. It sure was. And one of our favorite properties, the Transformers, came out during the '80s.
Yep. I'm trying to think of that song. Let me teach the world. Let me give the world a Coke, or teach the world to something or other.
I'm just thinking of Eddie Murphy. Tell that to have a Coke and a
Oh,
smile.
yeah.
Shut the. You have a Coke and a smile.
But that's the thing. You don't remember commercials today. I could, they have mascots of people.
I
Like the
detest
little
commercials today.
the
The thing I hate
Gecko.
the most, the thing I hate the most right now is I'm trying to watch Toy Federation or somebody on YouTube and I get a political ad. Even if I agree with it, I'm
Yeah,
gonna be like, I'm not voting at all now because of you guys.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
stay out of my freaking YouTube and if I'm trying to watch like 13th Warrior or a Chuck Norris
Political.
movie and I
Yeah.
got a freaking political ad, and I'm like, I don't like you guys are gonna make me not vote. Like I just want to watch my show.
That reminds me of something Ted Turner did when he bought WCW, and he calls up Vince McMahon. He goes, "Hey,
I'm in
Ted,
the
how's it
wrestling
going?
business.
Oh, we're in the wrestling business. What? You're in the what? The
That's great,
wrestling
Ted. I'm
business."
in the
He said, "Well, that's
entertainment
great.
business.
I'm in the wrestling business, not the." And I love that quote. That's the funniest quote. I love that between those two.
Well, Ted, I mean, Ted had Ted had some stuff, man, because he was like, um, he kind of called out Vince because he said Vince doesn't have a monopoly on the talent. It's just like any sports star. If your contract's up, you can go to any team you want, or resign. And I was a big WCW fan. I mean, I love the golden age of WWF with Hulk Hogan,
Oh yeah,
Macho Man,
that's a
Andre the
whole different
Giant.
thing
That's a
altogether.
whole thing. But
Yeah.
like Ted bought WCW. It didn't turn a profit until Eric Bischoff got there. And it just like, man, it was such a, I love watching that stuff.
Oh yeah,
It's
me
just
too.
so fun, just
It's
so
fun. It's
freaking fun, man.
entertainment. That's what it was supposed to be. Sports entertainment. I can't watch wrestling now because it's too realistic. It's too modern and too hip and stuff. I'm like, that's not wrestling. I wanted to see a guy dressed as a big chicken get his rear end kicked by Sergeant Slaughter. That's what I wanted to see. You know?
Well, TKO, at first I didn't mind TKO buying WWE because they own UFC and they own WWE, and now they own AAA, the Mexican wrestling, which is phenomenal. And they, man, they're. I'm not a big Ari Emanuel fan. He's a little too political for me, and it's like just trying to get every last nickel you can. Like spokesperson can't talk. It's difficult to speak English sometimes. Um, they made some comment. One of his spokespeople said that Vince McMahon was an idiot, or like Vince kept the ticket prices too low so families could afford it. It's like that's what wrestling is.
That's
It's
what it's
family
about.
entertainment.
That's
They're
why
trying to make it
it's
this like
successful.
bushy thing that nobody
Yeah.
can afford to go. And now you
Yeah.
got WrestleMania is going to be in Saudi Arabia next
Yeah.
year.
Like, what the hell is that?
And I'm
Who's
not
going to
against
be able to
Saudi
go to it?
Arabia because the
Yeah. Who's
Crown
going to
Prince
go
is
to it?
trying to
Yeah.
modernize the country, give women rights. They can drive cars. They don't have to have chaperones and all that archaic nonsense. But like WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl, the World Series, the NBA Finals. If anybody still watches that, um, you know,
It's
it's an
2 days
American
now.
thing.
Did you know what WrestleMania is 2 days? I
I
can't
think it's
believe
too
that.
much.
Yeah, too
It's
much.
too much, is what it is.
Yeah.
I think back like WrestleMania 3, man, that was the hallmark. They
Oh
just
my God.
got it all in, got it out. I mean, just
You got Liberace in there, Mr.
oh
T in
man,
there. You got the Rockettes in there. You got Rowdy Piper. You got Hulk Hogan. You got Andre the Giant. You got Vince McMahon. You got who's the other announcer? The guy with the boa.
Jesse the Body
Jesse
Ventura
the Body
and
Ventura,
Gorilla
Gorilla
Monsoon.
Monsoon. Oh, come on.
Man, it was a
It was awesome.
great time, man.
I love the
Great time.
80s. Everybody, you see that all the time pop up on Facebook. If you could go back to the any time period, what would you go back to? I said I would go back to 82 would be the perfect time for me to go back because that is the peak of everything that I love. Wrestling, music, cartoons, TV shows, toys, films, right there. And I would
It
live
just
there.
seemed it just seemed like we had a period of time in the 70s. Everybody was kind of wore out from the Vietnam War,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
was cool to hate everything or
yeah,
be
yeah.
the anti-hero or whatever. And then when the
Right.
80s hit, and there was kind of a new sense of patriotism,
Yeah,
and let's move on from the Vietnam War.
yeah.
And of course, it helps when you have like kind of a focal point, an enemy, if you will,
Yeah.
I guess, with the USSR. But it just seemed like creativity shot through the roof.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, just in every aspect.
Oh yeah.
Wrestling, TV, cartoons, toys, movies, music, everything. It was just a really great time.
Oh yeah.
And, it was just good stuff. But, well, we're running almost on 2 hours here. So I think we'll uh, call it here. We'll
Sure.
do the go home signal. But hey, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. If you watched us live, thank you. If you watch us
Yeah.
post
Yeah.
live,
Yeah. You had a
thank you
few
for that.
people. You did have
Um,
a few people in the chat, so that's good.
Yeah, so if you would hit like, subscribe, hitting your notifications, and please share this with everybody. DanCast is going to be a fun show. It's not always going to be live streams; it'll be monologues, and we're going to get it real fancy. One day we'll have intro music. We might even have a good host on there. We'll get rid of me and get somebody else on there that knows what he's doing. And but yeah, we'll have graphics and all this cool stuff. But it just when you do what I do, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and this is the perfect format for that to do it in a very positive way.
Yeah.
And so movies are a great thing. I love movies. I love the spirit of movies. One of the things I wanted to say in the opening and I forgot was I love that feeling in the theater before the 30 minutes of commercials. Uh, when you're in the theater and it's got that certain smell and you get the screen, the curtains, and
Popcorn.
you get that anticipation, like, I can't wait to see Batman. I can't wait to see Empire Strikes Back. Can't wait to see this. And then the curtains open up and the the green light comes on and the general admission previews or whatever. Man, it's just not a greater feeling than that, man. And like,
Oh yeah.
it just gets you pumped up and gets you jazzed. Movies are food for the imagination, and who does it better than America with that? I mean, yeah, I'm not knocking the Japanese or the French; they do great films too. Godzilla, one minus one of the best films of the decade, in my opinion.
And the
Uh,
sequel comes out this year, by the way.
yeah, another great our slate of movies.
Yeah.
I got to see that finally all the way through for the first time this year.
Is
When
it
we
not
went,
incredible? Wow.
I teared up at the end, man. It was such a great
Yeah,
movie.
it is. It is.
It's not just the best Godzilla movie I've seen.
You know
It's
what?
one.
I teared up too, not because of the movie per se, although I think the movie is phenomenal and I think it was well done and the story and everything. A friend of mine is a huge, huge, huge Godzilla fan, and he lived his entire life for Godzilla and loved it and helped me out with getting a lot of variations on Godzilla from multiple different countries and stuff. He passed away at 50, and that's
Oh,
was like he never got to see this resurgence of Godzilla movies with all the Godzilla Warner Brothers movies with King Kong and all that. And he never got to see this movie. And he never got to see the TV series Monarch on Apple TV, which is phenomenal. And it makes me cry that I couldn't share this stuff with him. And he was such a great Godzilla fan. And it really broke my heart.
well, he's probably watching it from up above, and maybe watching it vicariously through you.
I hope
And
so.
I got you got me at the end when everybody survived. There's a little boat crew, and then the lady lived. And he said his war was finally over. It really hit me. I thought that was just a beautiful movie, and because Godzilla's not like a hero or a villain, he's just a force of nature.
So
Uh,
Kevin has a comment about wrestling. I came up on Channel 3 Wrestling. Jerry Lawler, Superstar Billy Dundee, and
uh,
Coco Beware.
yes, sir. The really scrappy tag team of Rough and Ready, Jeff Jarrett, Austin Idol. Uh, that was a lot of people. That was the Memphis territory, and a lot of famous people came through there, including Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, the Road Warriors, you name it. That was just in the old territory days, which my home city, Louisville, Kentucky, was part of that route. You'd have Memphis, Louisville, Evansville, somewhere else I can't remember was the circuit. And Tuesday night at Louisville Gardens was wrestling. My dad would take me down there, and that was fun stuff. Kevin, you're absolutely right. It was like WWF Superstars at 11, and then Channel 3 Wrestling. Nobody knew what the hell it was called. We just called it Channel 3 Wrestling, and still do to this day.
I remember
But that,
Jerry Lawler had the feud with Latka from Taxi. That was big.
oh yeah, that was a big thing. And Andy Kaufman,
Andy Kaufman.
God bless him, man. He kayfabed that to his death. Like and kayfabe is where they pretend, like you be a character or whatnot, or we're feuding. We kind of keep that. It's called
Yeah,
kayfabe.
right, right.
A lot of kayfabe going on in society these days. But anyway,
Right.
that's a different podcast.
Yep.
But yeah, man, that was good stuff. Just man, like I felt bad as a parent that my son doesn't get to grow up in that era. I try to pass those values on to him as best I can, but daggone, man, that era was so great. And these movies just kind of, bringing home with that in a way. And then,
It was escapism too, because maybe your home life wasn't that great or whatever. Maybe you saw Bobby had something that you didn't and you wanted it, and you could get us away with a lot of these movies and be in another world and have fantasies and have adventures in other worlds, Star Wars,
well,
Star
man,
Trek,
like,
Flash Gordon, all that.
think about that's a very good point because you think like Luke Skywalker was a farm boy
Yeah,
and went on to be a hero. He had Alex Rogan from Last Starfighter was in a trailer park
yeah,
who went on to be a hero.
yeah,
Daniel LaRusso ended up terrorizing his high school and
yeah,
poor Johnny Lawrence,
yeah,
but he came from Jersey to California and I guess was the hero.
yeah.
Really, it's Johnny. But
So we were
but
all like that. We all
but there's
felt.
something you can
Yep,
aspire to in that.
yep,
Axel
exactly.
Foley and Beverly Hills Cop,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Rocky being the
Yep,
underdog, the
the
perpetual
underdog.
underdog.
Yep, all these
One
underdogs.
of my favorite movies is Rocky 3 because it's just such the Rocky movies are such a life lesson.
Oh
And
yeah.
that could be its own the Rocky movies. I'll probably do a whole thing on that. But like, because I'm a big Stallone fan, he's such a great creator,
Oh yeah.
writer, and actor. But
Definitely.
Rocky 3, he's like he's at the epitome, the peak of his career, and he's getting soft. He's got like freaking robots and wearing fur coats and all this stuff. And here comes Mr. T, hungry
Yeah.
like the
Hungry.
wolf, to
Yeah,
tie in
yeah,
Duran there,
yeah,
and beats him. And then Apollo takes Rocky and trains him and makes him even better. And then I love the deal with that is Apollo tells him, "Just promise me one thing: you and I are gonna have or we're gonna have a fight." So they have a fight in private, and at the very end of that movie, it's so great because like they're sitting there in the ring and they're talking, and he's like, "You want to ring the bell?" And Apollo goes, "Ding ding," and then they square up, and you see them both punch, and the movie ends. And you don't know who ever won that fight.
yeah.
And Creed, when Adonis Creed goes to Rocky's restaurant and he's talking to him, because rumor was Apollo and Rocky had a third fight. Who won that fight? Rocky said, "Well, how do you know about that? Nobody knows but me and Apollo, and he's like, "Well, I'm his son, that was a cool movie too. But
Um, Kevin says here, great conversation topic tonight, and we did an excellent job.
thank you, Kevin. That's not going to give you a discount, but thank you anyway. I appreciate. Nah, Kevin, I love you, man. Kevin's a great guy. He had some great conversations. Really great people. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And if you didn't tune in and you watch it later, appreciate you. It's kind of like Nitro, WCW Nitro. You can watch it live or you can watch the repeat. And with YouTube, you can repeat it as many times as you want.
We call
And
it the replay crew.
I want to thank everybody again for watching the show. I want to thank you, David, for joining me.
My
It's
pleasure.
kind of
Thanks for
funny how
inviting
this
me.
just a random sidebar on a show we had, and we're like, "See you Friday. We're going to talk movies." And if you would like to, maybe join me next week. Maybe we'll continue movies, or we'll do something different.
Sure. Sure, I'd love to. I love talking about movies, especially movies that I love, especially decades of movies that I love. So anytime.
And there's going to be one day that David and I are going to have a talk off, like you saw the walk off in Zoolander. We're going to have a talk off, and we're going to see who can out talk the other one. So I won. David's silent. So thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Be kind to each other. Be good to each other because we're all we got. So we'll see you on the next DanCast. And you can see David on G.I. Joe New News and Reviews. And you'll see me again on Sunday with David and our friend Terry on Toy Talk, where we talk the latest in toys, comics, and some other fun stuff. And David, thanks again. And everybody out there, have a great night. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.